How could still fool us? Heart at 23. Thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Come on, guys, let's sing. Let's sing. Just my hand. We are full in love with you every single day. Guys, honest to God, 5 more minutes and we're bringing in Dave Watson. We're going to have a little 5 minutes light-hearted and then we're fucking straight in. Excuse my language, but this is going to be the bomb. The bomb. And when I say the bomb, you will understand why. And people might be thinking, wow, Ben, you've used the bomb word on a triple amputee. Trust me, this goes deep. This goes deep, guys. If you're sensitive, hey everybody, it's going to be emotional. If you are a sensitive person, go and get some toilet roll. Go and get some kitchen roll. Whatever you need, go and get it. Go and get whatever you need to dry your eyes. Because when Dave Watson comes on and he starts talking, you're going to be thinking to yourself, wow, what the actual... So yes, the way I'm going to do this is I have got, hopefully, about half an hour, 40 minutes worth of questions. I will also be looking at the questions on the screen. If you have a question for Dave, ask it, okay? If I miss it, I'm sorry. If it's a good one, the mods will put it back in and say, Ben, somebody's actually to ask this. But at the end, I'm mega pregnant, so I'm so emotional. Get some tissue paper. Get yourself a brew. Get yourself a fab. And buckle down, okay? And good luck with the pregnancy, right? At the end, we will have a good half an hour of questions and answers straight up with Dave. I've got some things set out here about the early days, being a child, growing up, primary school, high school, first jobs. I think I've got a good question. Not a problem. Will do, and thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for being here today. Before I get Dave on, let me just explain. Okay, so we at Mickey's Army are here not as professionals. We'll never say to you we're professional mental health doctors or anything like that. Okay, I'm very well, thank you, Gabriel. And that is now, you're a good egg, Ben, thank you. Guys, I don't mean to be rude, and I appreciate everybody coming in and saying, Ben, I hope you're well, are you alright, what have you been up to? But at this point, we don't ask questions to me about, Ben, what have you been up to, what's the football score? Try not to talk amongst yourselves. I know it sounds really rude, you know, what do you mean we can't talk about us amongst ourselves? We want to see the questions coming through for Dave Watson. So just sit back, listen, enjoy, even though it's a sad tale, but it's also a fucking champion winning tale. So sit back and enjoy, okay? If you've got a question, ask a question, but please don't say, Ben, are you okay? Or when somebody else comes in and go, hi Luciano, or hi Jonathan, how are you? We literally want the comments just to be comments to Dave, okay? I know that might sound like, fucking hell, shitty rules, man. But it's just how we want it, okay? It's just how it is. So please don't comment any other comments other than a question to Dave Watson. Does everybody understand? Don't answer that. Bro, do you want me to screen record? You can screen it. As many as you that want to screen record, you are more than welcome to. Because after it, if you then want to go and say, wow, Mickey's Army have helped me today, and make some little videos of it, that would be amazing. get us out there. So we are not in no way, shape or form professionals, but we will listen, we will try and talk to you, we will be here for you, and we will get your story out there. If you have a story to tell, whether it's domestic abuse, whether it's sexual harassment, sexual abuse, whether you've got not so much a well-known illness, anything, drop us a message and say, I'd like to come on, I can talk for hours, and we'll have you on. Okay, 2 more minutes, we're going to get Dave Watson in. We will get Dave Watson in. We'll find all that out, Jason. All of these things will be asked as we get to them. So I will start off early with like the early days, and then I'll say, has anybody got any questions for that sector? The sector we've just spoken about, has anybody any questions? Then I will wait and I'll go for 5-10 minutes and we'll say to Dave, blah, 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 blah. And then we'll move on to the youth. So we've got childhood, basically primary school years. Then we've got your youth when you're at high school. Then we've got young adult, your first job, you've just left school, the world's your oyster, everything's, you're going out lads' holidays, you're thinking, I'm going to go and do some fit birds. I know what you're saying, I know what you're thinking, bloody hell Ben, this is meant to be professional, but this is it. So only ask questions when I ask you. The rest of the chat, how are you doing, mate? The rest of the chat, please don't ask any questions, just sit back, relax, enjoy it. I only want to see the comments going up when I say, has anybody any questions they want to ask me to put forward to Dave? Okay? If you want to screen record it, yeah? If you want to then put a TikTok out of your screen recording saying Mickey's Army has opened up a whole new world to me today, it's been fantastic, then do it. Okay? So then we're going to go into the army. Why did he join the army? Then the tour of duty. What tour of duties do you? Any other questions now I'm just going to ignore, and I'm not going to answer any questions until I say questions. Has anybody got any questions? I'm not being rude, but we just got to. Okay, so we're going to go injury, recovery, drink and drugs, because the recovery is one thing, recovering from his injuries, but then there's the downside of it. There's the downside of it, of the drink and drugs. Then there's the, how did you get into the Invictus Games? Then there's business, because he has his own business now. Then there's COVID, and then what next? So, guys, please, no questions now until I say any questions. Let's get Dave. Yeah, and if you can, share this live to the top 15 people in your chat. So you go to share, it'll come up with 15 people. Go and fucking spam it. Alexa, please play the intro to the Invictus Games.
Liberty by Carly Powley, featuring the Invictus Games Choir on Amazon Music.
Guys, Dave Watson. With his frozen internet.
It's not frozen,
Dave.
pal.
Dave, how are you, mate?
I'm good, pal, I'm good. Funny enough, just sending you on Facebook with the Veterans Lottery. Yeah, there's a post going around Facebook at the moment with me and the Veterans Lottery. So
Brilliant. So, for those of you that don't know Dave Watson, this is Dave Watson, who, if you are in Dave Watson, can you please come over to Mickey's Army, and Dave, can you please turn your comments off?
okay, I will turn my comments off now.
So, guys, what I'm going to say is I'm going to ask Dave a section of questions, and then if anybody wants to ask me to ask Dave a question, I will say to you, does anybody have any questions for Dave? And at that point, we will then ask Dave his questions. Please try not to talk amongst yourselves in the chat without being rude, and try not to ask questions whenever you feel like it. Wait for me to give you the please, do you have any questions? Okay. Dave, have you got anything to say before we start?
Right. All I want to say is I hope there's going to be a bit of gruesome stuff in this from my injury and a lot of other stuff. So if anyone struggles, please let me know. Everybody, let me know everyone's going to be okay by dropping me a castle, just to let me know everyone's going to be okay with that. I'm only joking, guys. I'm only joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
How many
I
castles
hope
have you got, Dave?
Eh?
How many castles did you just get?
No.
Oh,
Everyone's
okay.
going to struggle with it, mate.
Never mind.
But yeah, I hope everyone enjoys it, listening to my story. And yeah, please, when we've finished, ask as many questions as you can. Out there, go on. Kids.
That's just the kids. They're the boss.
Go on.
So that's it. They're already winning. This is life. This is real life, guys. This isn't Jerry Springer where it's all set up. This is real life. The questions I've got to ask Dave here aren't made up. They aren't fabricated. They are what they are. So, Dave, let me start by asking you about your childhood. We're talking your early years, your primary school years. What is your earliest memory that you've got of being a kid, a young boy?
Oh, I remember everything. Where I used to live in Bamber Bridge, my grandma used to live just a couple of doors up. So I used to always be around there and everything like that. And I'll always remember this because my grandma had a photo of it, and it ran a photo album for ages. She were bringing the washing in off the line, and I nicked. Are only young guys, so don't. I nicked one of her bras, and I nicked a pair of her knickers, and I put the bra on, and I put the knickers on my head, and I were running round the street and that. But yeah, like my early years were brilliant, were absolutely fantastic. I were always out playing football. I were always out climbing trees. I were doing anything I could. You know what I mean? What kids are meant to do.
Yeah, which they miss out on today, don't they? Because it's all computers and tech. None of it's like we were playing toy soldiers in streets.
Definitely.
So you've got plenty of early memories, the happy times when things seemed like it didn't matter.
No,
it were all about fun.
And I'm in a roundabout way. I'm still kind of the same. Still
a big kid at heart. I like that. What about traumatic experiences, Dave? And we're still talking here. We're still talking. Everything I'm asking you now is primary school. What about traumatic experiences? Did you have any trauma as a young boy up to being 10, 11-year-old?
I've had a lot. I've had a lot. When I was a young kid, like the hospital was my second home, and that's truthful. The hospital was my second home. I remember playing, like in your back alley at the back of your house, and that playing football in the back of the ball's gone over one at Gardens, and this wall it were high. I've climbed over the wall to get the ball, climbing back over, and at the time, your kids, you know what I mean, no one really thinks anyone's going to get hurt. So I've thrown the ball back
Invincible.
over. I've climbed onto the wall, and my mates kicked the football back, and it's hit me on in the face, square in the face, knocked me off the wall, and I smashed my head up. I hit my head up floor when I fell off the other side. Smashed my head open in that. What else has happened? I got knocked off my bike when I was doing a paper round. I broke my leg, broke my arm. I nutted the window screen, and the minibus literally threw me 20 foot further forward because it hit me that hard, and the bike ended up being in a V shape.
Which is about 20 foot's about 17 foot longer than what you are now.
It's about, what can I say, about 12 of me.
So it's fair distance, isn't it?
Give it take a stump or two.
I mean, let's be honest, Dave. You're probably the same height now as you was when that happened.
Roughly.
Yeah, I thought so.
Roughly.
So your traumatic experiences are all just through adventure of youth, really, aren't they?
Football football injuries.
Yeah. Did you lose anybody young? Did you lose any family members or friends, like at primary school years, or were it all quite
No,
fortunate? You know?
everything, like, I didn't lose any family members at all in my
Brilliant.
younger times. It all happened later on. You know what I mean? Like beginning of COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like proper close family members.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So I've had a pretty easy childhood. You know what I mean? No, what can I say? No skeletons or anything in the closet. You know
Yeah,
what I
so
mean?
you're quite lucky on that. So, moving on from your traumatic experiences, apart from your injuries through misguided youth, what about mentors? Did you look up? Was there anybody in particular you looked up to, and um, you thought I want to be them?
I always looked up to my granddad, really.
Like most of us.
My granddad's like my granddad. He used to clean windows. I used to go cleaning windows with him. I used to do everything with both granddads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mum's dad. He was the adventurous one. So it was my granddad what got me into I used to go rabbiting when I was younger.
Right. Yeah.
I used to have ferrets and everything like that.
Wow.
It was my granddad what got me into all that. So I've always been that outdoorsy person, and then my uncle got involved and started me off with the fishing at a young age. I started fishing when I was 5.
Wow.
And just took everything from there. I always used to do all the outdoor sports, so fishing, rabbiting, football. I used to do it all.
Fantastic. So obviously you've said that you did football and fishing, because that was one of the questions, sports as a primary school kid. So you basically did everything. You did fishing, you enjoyed your football and your athletics, obviously. What about holidays? Did you get on many holidays when you were at primary school?
I went on a few holidays at the time. You know what I mean? I didn't have a lot of money at the time.
Yeah.
Family always worked hard to do what they could. So we had the odd holiday every year. So either going not out of the country but away for
UK based,
like Butlins and everything like that.
Which now is more expensive than going abroad.
Oh, definitely. It's an absolute nightmare. And when we did go abroad, it were amazing, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant. So then, obviously, moving on from that, you get to high school. Once you get to your high school, did you struggle at all academically at high school, like moving from primary school to high school? Did you find the transition from primary school as a young kid to moving into high school and thinking, right, now what? Did you just move in no problem, and did you struggle at all?
No, I didn't. I didn't struggle. I'm one of them people that just take everything as it comes. You know what I mean? If whatever happens. And when I joined school, there was I was going to school with a lot of the same guys I was in primary school with and everything like that. So I knew people, and plus I had some cousins and that what were in the same high school as me.
Right. So you had a network go with you. And people a bit older that you could say, you can't touch me because he's here and I've been, he's my cousin or whatever. And then obviously you went with your friends. Did your mentor change at all when you went to high school? I know you said your granddad were a mentor, but once you got to high school, was there anybody else that you thought, wow, I want that? That's a bit of me, is
that? No. Not when I was at high school, no, because I just
sports stars or all like that.
No, because I just wanted to do at the time. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And even when one of my dreams was to go to the military when I left school.
Right.
That's I've always thought that. and that's what I had in my mind. But it like when I left high school, I had like a lot of thinking to do. Because it were like, do I go straight into the military as soon as I leave school, or do I do something else? So I got myself.
Yeah, which we'll come on to that, Dave. We'll come on to that. We will come on to that. So high school as a whole, would you say it was a success? Did you feel like when you left high school, you were like, right, I did all I could. I couldn't give any more. I did what were expected of me. Like, did you get your grade to move on in the future, or did you, like me, just think I'm not bothered about grades? I'm not going to turn up to them.
I didn't really like grades. Didn't really bother me.
No,
they didn't bother me, but I passed most of them anyway, which were a bonus.
Yeah.
So, but going through high school, it changes everybody.
Yeah,
because you've got in high school, you've got to get to the point where you've got to stick up for yourself because you don't know what's going to happen, and so that's what I did. I stuck up for myself. Yeah.
Did you ever come across any bullying in the high school, like towards you or towards a friend, where you were stepping in to help a friend because they were being bullied or anything like that? Were it quite straightforward?
Yeah, like at the time when we were young, you know what I mean? There were loads of bullying going on at the time in high schools. And I've always been the same. I hate bullying. I really do.
And I think we can all stand up to that and say, here, because there's nothing worse than a bully. Nothing worse than a bully.
And I always, no matter who it were, even if I knew him or didn't know him, if I seen someone getting bullied, I'd step in.
Yeah.
And I did do on a few occasions. Yeah, I got suspended from school for a couple of weeks. I was always getting sent home. I was always in front of the headmaster's office and stuff like that. But like when I was in year 11, do you know what I mean? I've always played football through high school, and when I was in year 11, we got through to the final of this cup. What we always play in, the school cup.
Yeah.
And it ran the main amateur, semi-professional football ground in Bamber Bridge.
Yeah.
I was a sub. I got brought on at half time. 4 seconds left of the match. My mate's running down line. He's crossed the ball in. It's come to me, and I've hit it with my left foot, and it went back at net. So I'd scored the winning goal for my school. Everybody just went absolutely ballistic. I went to school on the Monday, and the teachers were all over me. Yeah. It were like I'd give them all an apple just to say, right, just praise me, but they were all over me. So that were good at the time.
So you felt what it feels like to be a hero, basically, at an early age. Guys, can I just say, I'll open the floor in a minute for questions on this sector of youth and school. I just want to get past this. So you felt that, like I say, elation of being a success at the end of school. So that does actually bring us to the end of school. You've passed your exams and stuff. So if anybody has got a question now about school and his youth, then I open the floor to you now. If you've got a question about his youth, I don't want about the army because we're not there yet. I only want what we've just discussed about. If you've got any questions that you want to ask Dave about his time at school, or playing on the playground, or family life, or holidays, if there's any questions, we're going to do 2 or 3 minutes. So they're going to be quick fire questions today, quick fire answers.
Yeah.
If anybody's Are you better than me at football? Dave's better than everybody at football. I can answer that. Dave's a legend, honestly. Trust me. Dave can play in any position. Is there any questions on that, or shall we move on? Because, to be fair, the early life at school is quite easy, isn't it? It's quite straightforward. There's not much to ask. Did he have a rough time at school? He has really answered that, Becky. But like he says, he didn't really come across anything. He just moved with it. I can answer that for him. Was you popular with the ladies at school?
Not giving myself a big head, but I was with.
You've got
few.
one.
I were a bit of a lady
boy, which we have got pictures of Dave when he was a bit younger. So we will ask. Did he struggle? I have asked that. Tegan did ask, have you struggled academically? But like you said, you moved straight into school and just went with it, didn't you? And you passed straight exams. So you didn't struggle like with any dyslexia or anything like that?
Nope.
No, you smart ass. Was there UK welfare in that? It was absolutely fantastic, and we all love Nat. And if you're not following Nat, this is not a follow party, but please give Nat a follow. She's such a lovely lady who will be appearing one day on Mickey's Army, I hope. Was there any sports you was not good at school? What was your least favourite sport, or sports you just weren't good at?
Cricket.
Shit, innit?
I hated cricket. I hated cricket.
How can you play for 3 days and end up with a draw?
Huh?
How can you play cricket for 3 days and end in a draw? Right. It is shocking.
I hated it.
Absolute awful.
I hated cricket.
Yeah, it weren't great. Right, so I don't think there's any more questions on that, so we will move on. So as a young adult, all right, someone hates cricket as well. I don't blame you. Cricket is like terrible. Hang on. What was Dave's favourite and least favourite lesson at school? Favourite and least favourite?
My favourite was RE.
Really?
Only because of the teacher what we used to have at high school.
You fancied her, didn't you?
No, it was a bloke, right? But he was an absolute legend because every time you used to go into his lesson, he used to give you a bag of minstrels.
You wouldn't be getting away with that these days, or would you?
Oh, like he used to give you a bag of minstrels, and you used to eat them while you were doing your work.
Yeah.
And then if you did well, you'd get another bag and stuff. It were amazing.
So that was great. What about your least favourite then?
Got to be like French or something like that.
Yeah, something that's not really needed, isn't it? Yeah, I can understand. How old were you when you got your first kiss? Was it at school? And we're not talking off your mum or your grandma.
You were at primary school.
Yeah, naughty boy. If there's one thing you could have changed about your school experience, what would it have been? This will be the last question on this sector, guys.
I wouldn't change anything.
You wouldn't change anything?
No.
Because, like you said earlier, you just go with flow, don't you?
Yeah.
And
I won't change anything.
Why change what's happened? I'm totally with you on that one, Dave. So, moving on, you've left school. Did you go to college or did you go straight to your first job?
I had an apprenticeship.
You had an apprenticeship, and what were that doing?
Building. I was a bricklayer. Which what I was saying before, when I left school, yeah, I've always wanted to join the military, always. But I had that my thinking hat on that if I go and join the military straight from school and I don't like it and I come out, I've nothing to fall back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got myself an apprenticeship. I did my apprenticeship, which were 3 years. No, it weren't. It was 2 years. And then as soon as I finished my apprenticeship, I think it were a couple of months after where I thought, right, that's it, I'm done. I'm a qualified bricklayer. I want to do the military.
Really?
So
So you did your apprenticeship and then you went to your first job, which
yeah,
was the army. And what age were that then? How old were you when you joined the army then?
so 16, 17, 18.
18. Did you go on any lads' holidays while you were at college? So from leaving school, you went to do bricklaying. Did you go on any lads' holidays and did you get into any relationships? Two questions really there. Lads' holidays and relationships. Was there any or was it like, no?
Yeah, they were. We went on a couple. Magaluf went to Magaluf. Every lad when he's young goes
Typical.
to Magaluf. You know what I mean?
Well, I went Fallaraki because that were like on telly at the time, so I went to Fallaraki. Because I'm a little bit older than you, Dave, even though I look younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so,
Magaluf, and I was. I think I had I were in a relationship.
You're in a relationship
for my building career, really, my bricklaying career. When I left schools and then when I joined the military, she just couldn't.
They fade away, don't they? They fade away like most relationships do because the army does end up taking a lot. So you had your lads holidays, so you had a bit of fun. You were a bit boisterous. You had a relationship. So then we get to the art. Does anybody want to ask any questions at that point now? Does anybody want to ask any questions about as a young adult from from bricklaying to holidays? Obviously, we know his aim was to join army relationships. Has anybody got any questions that they'd like to put forward to Dave? Like I say, we'll give you a couple of minutes on these quick fire questions and answers on this before we move on to the big one of Dave actually joining the army and why.
Can you hear me all right, can you?
I can hear you fine, yeah.
All right, it's just saying it's just coming up in corner. I've lost connection.
Yeah. So we've got some pictures which I'll show you of Dave in uniform. Did he have any doubts about? That's a question for after for about the army. Not a question, but a comment. Where was his favourite place to go on holiday?
Well,
guys, questions in capitals as well, please.
Favourite place to go on holiday. Well, when I was a young lad, it got to be Magaluf, hasn't it?
Yeah. So the next question for you was, did you have any doubts about joining the army?
Everyone has doubts. Everyone. You always have that thing going around your head, like, I'm going to join the army. I'm maybe going to do this, do that. What happens if something happens? But like I've always been, yeah, there's doubts, but I just go with it. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah, exactly. What made you want to go into the army?
Well, I've always been that kind of like outdoorsy person, and like always being outside and going on exercise and the fitness and everything like that. That always intrigued me, and then yeah.
So basically, because thank you for the gifts. Any gifts that do come today will all go into the pot to help Mickey's army do other things and get to people if needed. So from that, was bricklaying something he wanted to do as a career? The bricklaying was something to fall back on if the army didn't work. We did cover that quickly, but that's why he did bricklaying. He wanted to do it if he needed to fall back on something before joining, which is very good because not a lot of people do that. What did your family think about you wanting to join the army?
Well, when I first left school, I sat down with them and had a talk to them saying I want to join the military, but I want to I always sat down with them and discussed everything. They wasn't really keen on me going as soon as I left school, So when I had that talk to them to say, right, what happens? What if I do building to get a trade behind me first? They were happy with that. But then when I'd passed my trade, I went back to them and said, right, I've done my trade. I'm still want to go to the military. But to be truthful, I didn't really tell them at first because I did my building, and then I went straight to the careers office.
Yeah.
And I signed on there, and then I went home and I said, right, I've finished with bricklaying. I'm joining the military. And they're like, what? I said, yeah. Wow. There you go.
So it went as a shot. When you signed up and you decided you were doing it, at any point before you actually getting you to your recruitment day, did you think, actually, I could just be a brickie and stick that out?
No. Nope, definitely not. Like, once I've got my mind set on something,
you're doing it.
I do it.
No worries. Right, so we're going to move on, guys. Please hold your questions for the next round. The Army, Dave. How old were you when you joined? 18, was it?
17, 18, yeah.
I'll just answer that. Was signing up easy to do? I can also answer that, but I'll let Dave.
Yeah.
You walk in, they sign you up, don't they?
Walk in, have a look at something and go, right, I want to do this, right, there you go, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
And I were there. But signing up to the day I was going to training, because I went in there, the careers office, and I said, because when I were signing up, I didn't mention this, when I were signing up, I was talking to my granddad, and my granddad pulled out some photos of his brother when he was similar age to me. He joined the Scots Guards when he was similar age to me. So that's why I did. And
so that answers my next question, why the Scots Guards. We basically got there without even asking. So you joined the Army at 18. The reason you joined the Army because you was an outdoorsy type person, and you just thought, this is it. This is what I want to be. It weren't the fact I want to make my family proud. It was just, this is me. I want to be outdoor. I want to be adventurous. I want to do the things that I've seen and done as a child. I want to do it in real life. Absolutely. So then, obviously, my next question was, why the Scots Guards? As you've explained,
my granddad's
because your granddad's brother. Which, what does that make your granddad's brother? What's your granddad's brother to you? I mean, it fascinates me. It goes back. Is it like an uncle or something? I don't fucking know. Is it like an uncle twice removed?
Great uncle or something like that?
It must be, mustn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, with my granddad's brother.
So when you got told that's it, you've signed up, you've chose, you've done your barb test, 1 + 1, A, B, C, D, E. You've put them in order, square holes into square boxes. You've signed up, you're done. You get your date. Where did you go? Phase 1 training?
Catterick
Garrison.
Yeah, so I went doing your fitness test. I went to Glencourse.
Yeah, up in Scotland. Yeah.
Went to Glencourse, and then once you've done that, because it's like a weekend there. Once you've done that, you come back. You have to go to the careers office and say you've done it. Blah blah blah. And I was sat at the table with him when I'd done, and I said to him, well, he said to me, right, you've done all that now. When do you want to go? I went, as soon as possible, ASAP. So he's had a look on his computer, and he said, what did he say? What day did I go in? So it were a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I went into the careers office to tell him I'd done, and I was at training on the Monday morning.
Wow. So you didn't have much time to second think about it, did you? And go, am I doing the right thing? And you just went straight in. I personally think that's the best way. So you did your phase 1 training. Did you then move down to Purbeck for your phase 2, or were that still at Catterick?
That was still at Catterick.
Yeah, because a lot changed. Because obviously when I did it, I were up in Glencourse with my phase 1, and phase 2 with Catterick. But then I know they changed the ITC at Catterick to just being like a full training centre,
Yeah.
didn't they, for everything? So you've done that, and you find you won't have had 2 pass-out parades then, do you? You just still get
you
just
just
the
have
one.
Yeah.
So obviously you get to your pass-out. Who did you have there for your passing out parade?
There were my mum, my dad, my brother, I think, and my nan and granddad.
Wow. So everyone that's just special, because you can't take everybody, can you? That's the thing.
No,
People
you
are like,
could-
I
you-
want to go, and you're telling all your mates, aren't you? I can't. I want you all to come, but I can't. My mum and dad
You get-
come.
You
It's
get
6.
something like 5 or 6
5 tickets, yeah, 5 or 6 tickets, yeah, absolutely. Because I know I was brought up by my stepdad, and my stepdad couldn't come to mine because there weren't enough tickets. So my stepdad was going to come to my second one at Catterick, but foot and mouth it for me, so we didn't get it. So you've signed up, you've done your phase 1, you've done your phase 2, you've passed out, you go into your battalion. What battalion did you join? I know you joined
I went to F Company first.
Yeah.
Well, no, sorry. I went back to the careers office.
Right.
I went back to the careers because they changed it a bit. They changed it a bit more. So I went back to Preston Careers office for 2 weeks to talk to the guys what are wanting to sign on.
Yeah.
So I could give them what happens, what goes on, what you've got to do. But I can give them all the inside details because I'm fresh out of training.
Yeah.
So I was in the careers office for 2 weeks, and then I went to London. Went to London to F Company. Did my ceremonial duties.
Oh, just wait there, Dave. Wait there. Give me a minute. I'm coming on to that. So quickly, I'll just explain. Passing out parade. So those of you that don't know, passing out parade, it's not where you go, you've passed out. The passing out parade is a ceremonial duty to basically, you've done your training. You are now a British soldier. You are no longer a civilian. We need to try a survey. Yes, exactly. So you're no longer a civilian in the normal wide world. You are now a British soldier. You are under the influence of, and this is not sexist because of the regiment that Dave joined. Yeah, your mum is now a sergeant major, a big bloke that's fucking gonna run down your neck. So you're passing out parade is a big march on a parade square in front of all your friends and family, and it's all drums, bells, and whistles. And you're in your best uniform, your best attire. You're looking smarter than you've ever looked in your life. You don't put a foot out of step. If they're saying left, your left foot should be hitting. You can't go right when it's left. You don't do that. So that you see in big parades, and that's it. That's you passing out from training and becoming a soldier. Which, like Dave says, he goes to F Company in London. F Company is just when you get to a battalion, you become like I was B Company. You get assigned to a group of lads basically, and then they're in charge of you. So onto your, we'll move on to the ceremonial duties in a minute. So has anybody now got any questions about his time in training? Now I know there was one. Did you come across any bullying or harassment in the army, in the training? Now, before he answers this, what I will say is, in normal civilian life, it would all be classed as bullying and harassment. But in the army, it's fucking character building. What counselling are given? Was there any counselling given at the start of your journey into being a soldier?
Not really. They don't.
No,
They don't tell you anything, do they? They just go.
They
right,
tell you.
go,
They tell you you're going to join. You're going to have a motorbike license, a driving license. You're going to be a skiing instructor, a top range shooter. You're going to be on all water sports. You get none of that. What was your main draw to the military life? Was it, as you said earlier, just the outdoorsy side of it?
Just the outdoors, the fitness, and like being one of them guys what are looking after the country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what.
Catterick. How did you find Catterick? Did you find it all right?
Catterick's a shithole.
Catterick's a shithole. Was the training harder than you expected?
The training was like. Don't get me wrong, guys. I were a fit lad. I were a fit lad when I was on Stibby Street. So I used to play football. I used to do quite a lot of stuff. But military fitness is about 100 times worse than civilian fitness. There were times when I was in training and I was like, it's all blocks, and you've got like the steel steps outside. I was sat on the fire escape, literally in tears. Like I felt weak as anything. Like I can't do this. I can't do it. I need to go. But I give myself a slap round face. I went, you can do this. You can do it. You've always wanted to do it, and I just carried on. But that's the thing with like they break you down to build you back up again.
Yeah, they mould you, don't they? They mould you into what they need you to be. And when you're in training, I don't know for you, Dave, but for me, they break you to the point of you giving up. But they need to do that for the later battles, which we will come on to later, because they need to know that actually when the shit hits the fan, you're big enough to take it.
Yeah.
So, what made you scared of the sergeants and sergeant majors?
God's honest truth. I wasn't scared of him. I just listened to him. I was like, I got to that place where I weren't scared of anybody.
No.
I'll always look after myself. Right? I weren't scared of anybody. But like being in the military is different. You've got to listen because there's a lot of shit what goes on. But it was the same when I was in training. One of the sergeants took me into his office. Thought I were a big hard guy, and he was stood in front of me shouting at me and stuff like that. Turning around saying, "I think you're cocky and all that." I went, "I don't think I'm cocky." I said, "I'm just getting on with it."
Yeah.
"Oh, you think you're a big hard guy from Preston and that?" He said, "I'll take my rank slide off now and we'll have a go." I said, I turned around to him. I turned around to him, "Don't do that." I said, "Don't do it." "Oh, why?" I said, "Put it this way." I said, if you do that, there'll be one of us walking out of this office and it won't be you. That's what I said to him.
You have to though, don't you? You have to be like that, otherwise you do get pissed second out you and you become a mug.
Yeah.
You've got to show whether, thank you for the gifts, they will all be going to good use, thank you. You've got to prove your worth, you've got to prove that you're prepared to die by your sword at the end of the day. Best practical joke ever played on you, Dave?
Best practical joke?
Or best practical joke, was it played on you or have you played one on somebody else?
Whatever.
Military, in training, we'll go for.
Weren't really a joke, but like a thing what I seen was when I was in training, and where they're teaching you to do everything. You've got to do everything. You've got to clean everything. And when I was in training, they even took us into the shower rooms to watch one of the sergeants showering.
Yeah.
Right. And he was pulling everything out of his backside. Like everything, and he was shoving everything up there and pulling it out while we were out there, and we were like, "Oh, you're joking." That was one, but there was another one where you've got your bed, and there's a certain way where you can fold your sheet, and you can't get in your bed properly. You know which one I'm on about. So you fold your sheet and you tuck it in, and you can't get in your bed because there's a line. You fold it. So I forgot how you do it now. You fold it somewhere. So I used to do it as well to other lads after it got done to me. But yeah, you go and jump in your bed after an hard day's graft, and you can't get in the bastard thing. You're fighting with it.
Yeah, it's the worst, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you ever have to paint Cole white?
No.
He never did, no. But I'll tell you something. I had to paint the grass green once. When Queen was due at Alma Barracks. See, at Alma Barracks, when I were in Catterick, we were based in Alma Barracks. Now, if you remember, if you went through Grassington and all that way through Skipton, you dropped down that big hill, and Alma Barracks were on left-hand side, right outside the golf course. That's where we were based. Last question I'm going to ask is, let me find it. Was there a point during training that nearly changed your mind?
That point where I was like sat on the fire escape.
Was that by any chance during bayonet training?
I think it was just after all the.
It's the worst, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is the worst.
I think it was just after.
We'll go on now. So no more questions, guys. We will move on from there. Tour of duties. So your first duty as a newly introduced British soldier was ceremonial.
Yeah.
Straight out of training into the Queen's Arms, basically. How did you find that?
Loved that job. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of ironing and polishing and everything like that. But you've got to get on with that to get to where you want to be, and it's easy. You look at someone like when you go to F Company, the sergeant will teach you how to bull boots.
Yeah.
And you'll watch him, and he literally makes his boots like he's holding like a piece of glass in his hand.
Yeah. Just 1 second, Dave. I will just ask this because obviously we've got to make this for the civilians out there that don't quite understand. Ceremonial duties itself, what is it?
So ceremonial duty is the guys in London. So the guys, all you lot that have been to London on a weekend and you've gone to Buckingham Palace or you've gone to the other ones and you've seen the guys outside in the red jackets and the bearskin hats. That's what I used to do. And that's what I did for a year and a half or something like that. So that's your ceremonial duties. Not just that, it's if any of the royal family or anyone really important passed away, you'd line the streets, you'd carry coffins. You've got the Queen's birthday parade, which is Trooping the Colour. So it's all that. It's not just Buckingham Palace, St James's Palace, and that. It's everything. Every ceremonial duty is what happened.
Including weddings?
Including weddings as well.
What was the biggest event you did down there then for the Queen or the royal family itself?
Well, I did. The biggest one was Trooping the Colour.
Yeah.
On Horse Guards. That was the biggest one. But we also deployed to Scotland for 5 months. So the Queen goes on holiday to Scotland for 4 to 5 months of the year, because she's got her own castle in Scotland, which is Balmoral Castle.
Yeah.
That's her own house. She paid for that. That's her own house. She goes there, and at the time when she was going, it was our turn to go with her. So we went to Scotland for 5 months, looking after her there, and that was amazing. Literally, I was speaking to the Queen every day. I was talking to Prince Philip. I even danced with the Queen.
I was just going to say, you've danced with the Queen, haven't you?
Yeah, I danced with her arm in arm at a ball. What we did.
Fantastic. So before we move on to your next duty, which we know is Afghanistan, does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask Dave about his time spent with the Queen and in front of the Queen and the royal family? Please ask your questions in capitals. I will try and see whatever I can. What was the song? What was the song you danced to with the Queen? Can you remember? Don't tell me it was Dirty Dancing.
No, it was a Scottish. It was like a Scottish dancing. You know, like the hat, like
bagpipes and that.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Fantastic. Does anybody else have any questions? Did you feel nervous with the Queen at any point, whether it was the first time or the last time, or?
Yeah, you always do feel nervous because it's exactly the same as like Christmas. Like say Christmas time, you sat around having dinner, the Queen's speech comes on, and you sat there and you're thinking, look at that fucking
man more than the five.
Look, do you know what I mean? Like, look at her. You're watching her on TV. You're thinking, oh, for fuck's sake! But like, when you get the chance to speak to her, and I got to know her pretty well, you know what I mean? And she's proper down to earth.
You're actually answering quite a few questions here without being asked, so that's good.
Yeah, she's proper down to earth, and she always, whoever she speaks to, she wants to know a lot about you, where you're from.
Is it true that you have to stand there and she's to approach you and speak to you first before you can't go up to her and go, hello, ma'am, how are you?
So, Balmoral, with the job I was doing, because we all had different jobs. So the job I was doing at the time, I could approach her. She walk up to the door, but when you see her walk into the door, you get up and you walk to the door to go and greet her. But yeah, she's amazing, and she's an absolute nut job. Driving a Range Rovers and that round Balmoral estate. Prince Philip's, on the other hand, he's dangerous. So do you know the old school ambulances?
Yeah.
Right. Prince Philip's got one of them. Right. With all his shooting equipment in when he's got guests and stuff. They go out shooting and we go with them. Sort of pheasanting and everything like that. We go with them, like they call it beat and retreat. So we're out in the field in a line, beating the bushes to get the pheasants out, so they can shoot them. So we was behind Prince Philip in his ambulance, like it's his shooting cabinet. So he's driving along, we're behind him. He fell into a ditch. His side of his truck went into a ditch and tipped. So we had to get that up. The Queen's got bloody Range Rover Vogues. She's got every all the cars are up there, and literally she drives around her estate at like 100 mile an hour. No, which is bad for us, because if you're driving to the castle and you're on the estate and you're driving to the castle, and the Queen's coming the other way, we, by law, this is what we've got to do. We've got to pull over. The driver braces up behind the steering wheel,
which is almost like a salute, isn't it?
Yeah, and the passenger has to get out and salute the Queen.
Wow.
Right, that's what you've got to do on like when you're driving around, which sounds stupid because by the time we've pulled over, she's gone. She's just flown past you. But you've got to do it anyway because it's the law. It's what we.
Quick one, Dave. To be in the Scots Guards, do you have to be 6 foot? Is there a height limit?
Back in the olden days, you had to be 6 foot or over to join the Scots Guards. That were back in the olden days. but the times change now because what they do now, if you shut like every time you look at so the Queen's like the Trooping of the Colour, when you see a row of guardsmen, they're all the same size. That's because the bearskins.
Yeah.
So a shorter guy gets a bigger bearskin.
Yeah. Bearskin for people
guys,
is the hat that they wear.
The taller guys get a shorter one, so you're all in line. That's how they do it now.
So, final question, Dave. On your whole experience with the royal family, could you just have a laugh and a joke with them?
Yeah.
And just be yourself from time to time. What about the
Yeah.
pub? Oh, sorry, yeah. Can the public? What about the public? Could he talk to them? Could you talk to them and move?
I could move because when you're stood there in front of your sentry box, a lot of people, like civilians and that, when they see them marching up and down either side of the box, a lot of people just think, oh, they're just doing that. But you've got your boxes there and you're stood there. You can go a certain amount of steps that way to come back, and you've got a certain amount of steps to go the other way to come back. So you can't just go like to the other side at Palace to come back. You've got a certain amount of steps you've got to take before you have to turn around and come back. I used it as a bit like when I was stood there. Yeah, I had a bit of a laugh and a joke with the tourists what were coming around and everything like that. Because they don't think you can move. They think you're just stood there like that. And I had a young couple telling me loads of jokes and stuff. Like proper, like stood like how far me and you away. Right? They were telling me all these jokes, I'm just looking at them. And I'm not laughing, not nothing. And then, oh, we forgot, you can't talk. And you carry on talking, your fucking jokes are shit. Fuck off. Right? Like, without my lips moving, I went, fuck off, away from me. Oh, you can't speak. I just fucking did. And they're like, did one. Group of school kids, this was the best one. Group of school kids on a trip. Right? And because I was senior guardsman at the time, so I was on the front post next to the guard room. All these group of kids have come up to me, standing about like running around, and they're all looking at me. The young kids, brilliant, right? Because when you come to attention, you've got to bang your feet in.
Yeah.
Right? They're all there, stood there around taking photos. I banged my feet in, did my rifle drill, put it back, and I started marching. They screamed and ran off everywhere. It was hilarious, but a few times you had to be serious as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't get me wrong. Being a Queen's Guard, yeah, I've hit people with my weapon, push people over, push people out the way. Because when you're
the common belief is that they're not allowed to touch you, but the truth of it is actually, if they're in your march path,
yeah,
you can.
do. Like if they're in our march path, we're entitled to push them out the way because they're in our way, we're not in their way. So.
This is the last question now. Is it true tourists used to try and touch them inappropriately?
A lot of tourists, like I said, I've hit a couple mocking you, taking the piss. When you were doing your marching, you up your steps either side. They would come at the side of you and they would be mocking you and doing it, and they're not allowed to do that. No. They're in your way, so I've hit them out of the way. You did get a lot of women, though. This is a God's honest truth. Like, you've got your buff belts on, that white belt. You had a lot of women writing the numbers down on pieces of paper, folding them up and slipping it down your buff belt. That's honest truth.
I told my mum to stay away from London, Dave. She never listens.
Well,
so
meet you down.
What? I'm sorry.
Oh, like, just slipping because you'd take your belt off at the end of it. You'd take your belt off, and all these pieces of paper just used to fall out.
Did you feel like a prostitute?
No, because I like God's honest truth, I never did anything about it. Every time I took my belt off, they'd fall out.
Yeah,
I'd just screw them up and put them in the bin. You know what I mean? But every time a guy used to come, like when a lad used to come in and get changed, pieces of paper all over the floor with numbers on it.
Yeah. People are mad, aren't they? So you've done your ceremonial duties, Dave. You've been to the Queen's Palace. You've been to Balmoral. You've gone back to your battalion, and you get told. So this is where it's going to turn a little bit now, guys. You've been told we're deploying to Afghanistan. What year was that?
2010.
2010. You got told you're deploying. What went through your mind at that point when you got told, that's it, we're off, we're going?
A lot of things go through your head. Getting told you go into a battlefield. A lot of things go through your mind, and it was like, oh shit, this is it. We're going. It's happening. But yeah, don't get me wrong. We got fucked about a bit on the deployment day and what we were doing out there.
Yeah.
Because our first job was actually working with the SAS, alongside the SAS. So we went, training with the SAS, doing what they do, and we were doing all sorts. And then the job changed, so we had to train again for that job role. And then
it got serious, didn't it?
Yeah, and then it changed again. And then it changed again from that. So we had 3 changes. So we've had 3 different amounts of training. And the amount of training you've got to go through, not just going out to Afghan. You've got to do your pre-deployment training. You've got to go to, where is it now?
Is it Salisbury?
Salford. Is it? No,
Salisbury Plain.
Salisbury Plain, yeah. Went to Salisbury Plain, did all the training on there with all houses and that, and that was just brutal.
It's as close to real life as you get in Salisbury Plain. So Salisbury Plain, for those of you that don't know, is a massive military area where you've got full tanks, you've got live firing, you've got real grenades, you've got smoke, you've got everything. Guys, if you've got any PTSD and you don't want to listen to this, this is the time to probably move on. Please, if you can stay with us, stay with us. Everything that's said is true and factual. Nothing is going to be sexed up and made fun of. This is all legit. So if you do suffer any PTSD or you suffer any anxieties, please just flick out the chat. We're not going to be offended by it, because this is where it gets deep and serious. We're getting to the point now where we're going to start talking about Dave's injuries in Afghanistan. So we're going to move on now. So if anyone is not wanting to continue and stay, we appreciate that. Don't worry. So you've done your Salisbury Plain training. You've now you've got your date. You're ready to go. How did you tell your family, and how did your family react, Dave?
Well, I think every family's nightmare is hearing them words, I'm deploying on this date. But they have to understand, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's your job. You've got to do your job. You can't just go back to the Sergeant Major and go, I can't go. My mum and dad said I can't go.
Yeah.
It's your job. You've got to do it. Don't get me wrong. they were terrified, but they know what training we've had. They know what could happen or anything like that. But you've just got to reassure them. You just got to make them think right and just say, listen, if it happens, it happens. I chose to do this. Yeah, it's not, but you've just got to try and reassure them the best you can. And yeah, I told them we got the date where we could go to. We got like a week's leave. Went home for a week. Spend time with friends and family and everything like that. And I was coming back on the Sunday. My mum and dad took me to the train station because that was going to be the last time I seen them until I come back from Afghan. They put me on the train, and I was on the way to Catterick. Yeah, I was sat on the train with tears pouring down my face because I didn't know what was going to happen.
How old were you, Dave?
22. 23.
22-year-old going to war.
I was sat on the train going to Catterick with tears pouring down my face, thinking, am I ever going to see mum and dad again? Am I ever going to see anybody again? But you get to the stage where you have to snap out of it. You have to do what you need to do. So we did. And we got back to camp. Then the Monday we started work, we got told the date's changed. We're not flying out on this date, we'll find out later. So they said we could go home on a long weekend, the following weekend. I chose not to go because I've said my goodbyes. I've been there. I didn't want to do it again.
It's all mine. It's all as military talk will be. It's all mind fucking, innit?
Yeah. It's
You're thinking, I've done that, I've been this, and now why am I doing it again?
Yeah. So I decided not to go, and I stopped in camp. It was Monday morning. I got up, did our nominal roll and that. Stood outside at like my company office, and all these cars kept turning up, and just random people getting off. What the fuck's going on here? The guy that like the sergeant major or the commanding officer who's got in contact with your families to invite your family to camp for the day.
You know.
So my mum and dad turned up. So they were watching the nominal roll, and after that you could spend the day with your family, taking them to. So I took mine to the NAFI. I showed them around. I showed them bits and bats, and not.
I used to work in NAFI, Dave. 4 years I served in NAFI.
4 years NAFI. But it weren't just my mum and dad. One of my nanas turned up as well.
Wow.
One of my grandmas. So I showed him round, and it got to the time we were up, like the coaches have just pulled up on Jill Square for us to get on to set off to Bastion and to set off to Bryce-Norton, sorry. And as I were getting on, all these families like giving big hugs and everything like that to the families, and shook my dad's hand, gave my mum a kiss, gave my grandma a kiss. And my grandma handed me a cross, St. George, like the cross and that. And I put that in my pocket, in my top left, where everything else goes, top left.
Notebook, pen.
Yeah, notepad and book, and then my like cross. That stayed with me all tour. Every patrol I went on, that would come out with me. But she also gave me the biggest bag of morale you could ever have. She gave it me, it were all tied up, so I couldn't see it. I had to open it afterwards. Got on the bus. I was waving to him. I don't know why, but I picked a fucking window seat, didn't I? So I could see him there. But I waved to him. Bye. Got onto the road, opened the bag, looked in it, and it was the biggest bag of fucking chocolate you have ever seen, right? So I picked all this chocolate and I'm literally throwing it around the coach for everyone.
Sharing the morale.
And there were everything in there. Every chocolate you could think of, mate. I was just flinging it out and we were just eating it all the way there, mate. But yeah, we set off then to Brize Norton.
Just before we move on to that, Dave, obviously Brize Norton is the military airport where we fly out of to go on operational tours or if you're going on training exercises. Before all that, we've missed the point where you get told, obviously, you're going to Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever you're going. At this point, people don't realise you are asked one thing. You are asked to write a will.
Oh, yeah.
At what were you... I take it that when you first join, you're asked to write a will. And then when you go on an operational tour, you're asked to double check it. And for me personally, I wrote a will. But Dave, when you wrote your will, what went through your head? What went through your head when you're thinking, fucking, I'm 22, I'm writing a will?
Yeah. Like, sat there. I was literally sat there on my bed, writing a will out to everything I've got.
At the time, were you like me, Dave? You had your month's wages and a DVD player and a telly in your room. That were it.
Yeah, that were it. That were it.
I leave my DVD player to my mum.
Yeah. Like, I've got what I've got. You. And it does, like, you sat there writing a will and you're putting, I want everything to go to my parents.
Yeah.
My dad can have, like, the pack of condoms that are under my pillow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who did you leave your porn mags to, Dave?
Oh no, all them got dished out before I went to Afghanistan.
Was you scared writing your will though?
Yeah.
How did they do it for you? Because again, I know I'm going on to me, but when I had to write mine, it was just outside sergeant's office in corridor. Right, lads, all write your will.
Well, we had like muster parade. We got given them. Go and write them. So we had to go to our rooms and sit there and write them.
Which then it's on your mind. It dwells on,
yeah, you're on your own. You're on your own. You're 22. You're writing a bastarding will.
Did at that point? Did you ever think at that point, I want out of this. I don't want it. Even though you don't have a choice, you can't just do that. You've got to give 12 months in the army to get out. Did it cross your mind like, wow, am I in too deep?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because they've already broken, they've rebuilt you into knowing that's your job. Am I right in saying that?
That's right. And it didn't, a lot of things going through my head when I'm putting that pen to paper and I'm signing the last bit when you're signing your name. I thought, right, that's it. It's done. I've sat, like, I've not got a lot, but my mum and dad are having them if anything does happen. But yeah, you shit yourself when you're writing a will after 22.
You may as well sign it with a teardrop, aren't you? Because you sat there and you're thinking, and you don't tell your mum and dad. I take it you didn't tell your mum and dad. Fucking hell, I just had to do a will.
Oh yeah, what 22-year-olds going out to Afghan, right? Writ a will out. I went, all right. Yeah, I'm just to let you know, I'm on the road now. I've done my will.
You're in it.
You're in it. My condoms are coming to you, Dad. Don't worry about it.
It's true, though. You don't. You keep it to yourself because you don't want to bring that to your mum, do you? You don't want her to think, what do you mean you're writing a will? Are you expecting to die? Because you don't, do you?
at the time as well, they've got. It's not just us. Your parents have got a lot on their mind because their son is going out to Afghanistan. The last thing they want to know is, he's just done a will.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? So you've landed now. We've gone past the will. You've done your travelling. You've landed in Camp Bastion. From there, how long from landing to your accident? How long were you there before your accident?
Oh, UK Wildfairy, thank you for the confetti. Thank you very much. 3.5 months.
So you've been there 3.5 months. You've done all your regular stuff. You've been out. You've done your patrols. You've done your whatever you've got to do without going into great depth. There's a lot you've got to do. We will leave that open to people to ask questions in a minute. But you've been there, you've done 3.5 months. What was the scariest moment for you at that point? When you got there and the shit hit the fan, the times were real, you'd done your bit of training, you'd been armed, you'd been briefed, now you're going patrolling. What went through your mind at that point?
Well, a lot of things go through your mind. A lot of things every time you step out of that SEM wall.
And an SEM wall, guys.
You've only seen it on films, haven't you?
I've seen it on pictures there. But basically, there's big sandbags. There's an SEM sand, and that's all your view from your house is just fucking sandbags. That's all it is.
But it's like when you step outside of there, anything could happen. Anything.
And it did.
And don't get me wrong, we had a few near misses here or there, like in the 3.5 months what we were. But that particular day, it was different. It was a lot different to all the other patrols we've been on.
Before we get to that, Dave.
Thank you very much for that gift. Thank you.
Before we get to that, Dave, you're in Iraq, you're in Afghanistan now. You've been there 3.5 months, and in that 3.5 months, no doubt you've heard the words, "Today we lost a brother." Whether from your regiment or another regiment, someone or sister, someone lost a life. How did that make you feel when you sat in your bed at night? How did that make you think?
Yeah, we weren't even on my bed. I can tell you a story on one of them.
Guys, this is going deep, so again, trigger warning. If this can upset you, please leave.
Thank you for the TikToks. 4 weeks before this happened to me, 4 weeks, it was like we had our different companies. We were out on patrol. Another company were out on patrol. All your radios are linked to everyone. We was out on patrol. We were sat there. We were actually in a firefight at the time. Right?
A firefight, for the people that don't understand, is people are shooting at you, you're shooting back. It's part of contact. You have to do it. It's not a choice.
So I'm on my belt buckle in like a ditch. Right, I'm on my belt buckle. I've got the LMG all set up, my lightweight machine gun, and we heard over at radio, one of the lads has just been hit by an IED, lost both his legs and his right arm, and I was like, shit, like, cause he were a mate of mine as well, you know what I mean? So a lot of things were going through my head there, and then when you're in a firefight and you find out something like that's happened to one of your good mates, it hits you. It hits you hard, but you've got to. You can't think about it because you've got
a job to do.
If you start thinking about it, and this is gonna sound nasty, but if you start thinking about what's happened to him, you're 100% going to get shot.
Yeah.
Because your
An
mind goes off
IED
the
is
game.
an improvised explosive device.
Your mind goes off the game, and that's where you fuck up, and that's where you get shot or something. So you've just got to snap out of it. What's happened. You discuss that when you're back in camp, safe. So that was 4 weeks before me. But when it happened, I turned around to the lads at the time. I said, if that ever happens to me, I want you to put a bullet in my head there and then. I said, I don't want saving. I don't want anything. I want you to put a bullet in my head there and then, because I don't think I'll be able to live with just having one arm. So you put a bullet in my head if it happens to me. And then 4 weeks on.
Guys, we'll just take a minute. We'll take a minute. If anybody wants a drink, go get a drink. Get a lolly, get something to eat. We're just going to have a minute, because now we are seriously going to hit it. We're going into Dave's darkest moment, the time the accident happened. So, get yourself a drink. Are you in a rush, Dave? Are you all right?
No, I'm all right.
So get yourself a drink, guys.
Oh, thank you, Yvette. Thank you very much.
Oh, don't worry about it. Obviously, this is a learning curve for everyone in the questions. And if someone says please do this, it's only because we're trying to set rules that help people. But you don't have to worry. There's no apologies needed. Are there any questions we can't ask? There's not. You can ask any question you want. We'll get to Dave's injury and the time that he got injured. If anyone's got any questions for the next minute, and I'll literally mean a minute, about before his injury. We've got a lot of it now. We've spoke about it. We've said how he felt being on a patrol and being told. May I ask one now? Of course you can, Nat. We can have a few questions. Sorry if I'm wrong. If I'm asking. No, nobody apologise. Nobody apologise. This is for everybody. This platform is something we want. This is why we're here. That's just why we're here, to get stories out there. Yes, the real life stories. Yes, they hurt. Yes, they make you feel sick. There's only one question that doesn't need to be asked, and I'm not going to say it, but it won't be asked if it comes up. There's no need. We're done. Well done to him speaking. Exactly. Yeah. Honestly, proud of him. Oh, this is what we're here for. I want to share real life stories. It's not just about the military. It's not just about one thing. Is it true that some guys? Yes, it is. That is a question I will answer, because that's not directed at somebody. Nah, it is true that some people do count, don't they, Dave? They do have a kill count, and they count it. Mainly snipers. Snipers have kill counts. So yeah, that I will answer that, because that's not directed. That's the one question you never ask a soldier is, have you killed somebody? But that question, what you asked, Nat, is a different question. It is true that people do have a kill count. Some people are proud of it. Some people just won't even speak about it. Even those that have taken a life will turn around and say no, because it's just the way it is. But snipers tend to have a kill count.
And it's just snipers, really.
No. Pardon, Dave?
It's just snipers. That's part of their job.
Yeah,
that's part of their job, having a kill
because
count.
they get targets, don't they? They have dedicated targets 9 times out of 10. So is everybody back in it? It's all right, Nat. No worries, Nat. Is everybody back in the room? Is everybody back in the room? I think Lynn said they're back. Lynn, are you back?
How many have you got over that side? I haven't asked yet.
There's 40 over here.
There's 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 in this side.
5 in that side. If you want to come over to this side and then you can ask your questions, by all means do so. Dave, can you? Lynn's back. This is the last question, then we'll move on. To get an idea of realism of a firefight, Could you compare it against any film that has been made?
Yeah.
Which one?
Kajaki.
Never seen it. So, guys, do you want to watch it?
So Kajaki is based on a real life story, being out in Afghanistan, and it's like 99% as close as the real thing. It's based on a real story. The guys, I won't give the film away, but the guys what stuff happened to, happened in real life. I knew them guys. I was at Headley Court with them.
I just need to let me cut out, Dave. You keep telling them.
I was at Headley Court with them. So the film's actors, but the guys what it really did happen to, what the film's based around, I was actually at Headley Court with them, and in hospital with them. So yeah, if you want to watch something what's like close to what I went through, and it's 99.9% like as close, Kajaki.
We'll give it a watch. There you go, guys. Guys, I can confirm that Dave's fine. Me and Dave have spoken in length many times, just not on this sort of platform. Dave's good. Dave's happy to talk, and Dave will always. If Dave needed a break, he would just say, "Guys, give me 2 minutes." But Dave's been there. He's done it, and he's fine. I can confirm that. No problem. So thanks. I'm pretty sure he appreciates your concern, but he's good.
Yeah,
so
thanks,
Dave, guys, this is it now. Sorry, go on, Dave.
I just said thanks, guys, for.
Manu actually said you're an inspiration, and he loves you. This is it now. We are going to the darkest part of Dave's life, really. The hardest part of it. So this is where we're going to talk about his injuries, guys. So if anybody is going to suffer by this, if anybody wants to leave the room, please leave the room. I will show a couple of pictures. It won't be gruesome, but it will be enough to trigger some people. So please make sure you are okay. And there we go. So Dave, the day of the accident, I know you said it felt totally different. Take us there. Take us the day.
100%. So I'll just go back to like the patrols we were going on before all this. It were going out on patrol. When we was out there, we didn't feel threatened. Like we didn't feel threatened because we had the kids used to come up to us. We used to put like, you know what I mean? We used to give the kids sweets and everything like that. And we went like this patrol we went on was a fine patrol.
What date was it, Dave?
It was the 27th of May, 2010. So we went out because the Taliban were coming in. They were causing a lot of hassle around the villages. So we went out on a fine patrol to go and look for these and try and get rid of them. And we literally we set out at 2:00 in the morning. We went out. We went everywhere. We were raiding. We were raiding, like houses where the Taliban were, where they were making the IEDs and everything like that. We were raiding houses. We were arresting people. We were doing everything, and just to get close to them and try and show that we wanted him our way. We wanted him gone, or else we will fight. So we were going out on this patrol, and from the get-go, there were just always signs of threat. There was and there were a lot of things. Like me being out in Afghan 3.5 months, I was going out on patrol. I never once wore my glasses, my protective glasses, never once. But there was something about this one where I had them on. I wore them. I wore everything. I don't know what it were. There was just something telling me that I need to wear these today. So we went out. We were, like I said, we were raiding houses, looking for the IED like the guys that were making them and everything like that. We found a few. We arrested a few. There were firefights all around the way, and then they'd stop. We'd carry on, and we were walking down like a back alley. So, like your back alleys, your houses back in the day.
Yeah.
We were walking down the back alley. I was the LMG gunner. So I've got my lightweight machine gun and I've got my pistol strapped to my leg, because every LMG gunner has a pistol as well, because you can't swing that weapon about. If anything needs to happen quick, you've got a pistol to pull. So we're walking up this back alley, and all the locals are looking over the back walls. They were watching us. Well, they've never done that before. So that will put in thoughts in your head, like something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And there was a dog. There was a dog in the back alley.
Yeah.
You've got to watch out for the dogs, because, like, if they bite you, you don't know what diseases then dogs have got. And it's the dog's going absolutely mad at everyone. I had to pull my pistol on the dog. I didn't shoot it. I had to pull my pistol on the dog just in case it went for me. And then I could. But lucky enough it didn't. I didn't have to shoot it. So I put the pistol back. But then we got to the top of the Ginnel. And I think it were a week before, one of our Mastiffs got blew up.
Which is a military vehicle.
At the top of that Ginnel. So we got up there, and all what was there was the big wheel. It was just one of the wheels.
Yeah.
Everything else had gone. So we knew straight away, do not touch that wheel. Because for the guys what are listening, like everyone what's listening, the Taliban are very smart people. They'll make IEDs out of anything. And with having just that wheel, having just that wheel there, we know that they've made something out of that wheel. So if we go move it, it's going to go bang.
Yeah.
But we left it there, didn't touch it. We just walked straight past. But the wheel were like over here, and we were like over here. We could see it, but instead of us walking that way, because if we walked that way, they could have set it off, and it could have.
Yeah.
So we walked through the field, and as we were walking through the field, we had our interpreter with us. He had his radio on, listening to the Taliban, and the Taliban are saying that they've got us surrounded. We can't go anywhere, and they're going to get us.
Yeah. 1 second there. So for everyone that's just joined and thinking, what the hell is an IED? It's an improvised explosive device. Basically, it's a buried bomb. Stand on it, you'll hear the results. That is what an IED is. Sorry, Dave. Yeah,
so we were walking through the field. The Taliban are turning around saying they've got us surrounded. We can't go anywhere. They're going to start firing. They never did. We carried on, and we were getting in. There were 53 of us, so we're on a 53-man fighting patrol. And we were getting into this stream, single file. I was the third to last man. Right. out of it. So I was the 50th guy. We're getting into this stream. We're walking through the stream. And as we were getting in, there were an IED to my right-hand side on the edge of where the water and the dryness is, where the bank is. And I passed it. And then my mate were getting in. He slipped. And then I had to make sure he was all right. And at the time, you don't think about anything else apart from is your brother all right? So I've grabbed my weapon with that arm underneath. I've turned round to my right hand side. I've turned round. They still don't know to this day whether I stepped on it or it got detonated. It's like by them.
Yeah.
But I'm holding my rifle. I've turned that way. So this arm behind me, as I've turned, I've stepped on it. I feel like, God's honest truth, I think I heard a click. It might have just been the bang, because I heard something, and it was like being hit in the face with a football, being hit square in the face with a football. Because as it's gone bang, the pressure what's come up has lifted my arm, and my weapons hit me in the face at, like, you could say 90 to 100 mile an hour because of the pressure. It's that fast. Yeah.
Guys, we're going deep now. We are going deep into injury and gruesomeness. So please, if it's going to affect you in any way, shape or form, please, just leave. It's fine. Dave, you still like to continue, yeah?
Yeah. And the weapon hit me in the face, you could say, at 90 to 100 mile an hour.
Or as they say in the Scots Guards, the speed of 1,000 gazelles.
Yeah, which is like fast. And it lifted me. It lifted me about 10 to 15 foot in the air. And then I've landed back first into the stream. So as I've landed in, all the water had come up like over the front of me. And I am underwater. I'm drowning.
Was you awake at this time, Dave?
I was conscious through it all.
So you knew that I need to get out of here.
I knew I was underwater. I knew I was drowning. I didn't know what had happened at the time. I just heard the bang. I didn't know it was me. I didn't know if it were anyone. But I'm under the water. I'm trying my best to get my head above the water. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get my head above the water. I was pushing with both arms. I was just moving. Nothing. And it is true what they say. Your life does flash before your eyes when, like, you're about to go. Because mine did. Mine flashed before my eyes.
What did you see, Dave? Explain to people what life flashing before you is.
I seen myself, like, football, doing the building trade, like all the fun times what I'd had, like, just went straight, like, it was that fast. It just flashed before my eyes, and I was drowning. I thought, that's it, I'm gone, I'm done. The guys have come over, and they've grabbed hold of me. They've lifted me up, and they have sat me on the edge of the banking, and they were saying, Dave, are you all right? Are you all right? I went, yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. What's happened? They wouldn't tell me. I don't know whether they were scared to tell me what had happened or what, but they were just saying, are you all right? I said, yeah, I'm all right. And they're saying, don't look down. Do not look down. me being me, I had to look down to see what had happened. I had to. I've looked down, and all what was there was my shin bones. How can I picture it? So yeah, like literally, my foot had gone, my calf had gone, everything had gone apart from my shin bones, and I just like that were on both legs, and I thought, fuck. The guys, I had no pain, no nothing, because of all the adrenaline going through your body and everything like that. I didn't feel any pain.
Yeah.
I'm just sat there spitting teeth out my mouth with a weapon just hit me in the face. You know what I mean? My bust lip.
Guys, I'm not laughing because I think it's. I'm laughing because I've heard it all before. And we've laughed and joked about it so many times.
Like my lip, I'd split my lip. I'd smack, like I broke my jaw. I'd gashed all under my jaw because where I was, like, you know, like I no, you don't know what it's like, do you? But when you've got your body armor on and you're out in Afghan, you've got like your pockets where you can put like your bayonet and other stuff. Where I was lucky. I was lucky because I had ammo in one side of my pouches. Other side of my pouch, I had grenades. I had like my bayonet in my body armor. I had all sorts everywhere. So any of them could have blown up. The grenades could have gone. The rounds could have gone off.
Yeah.
But the bayonet literally lifted and smashed me in the jaw, broke my jaw. So I'm spitting teeth out. My lips are bleeding. The guys are putting the tourniquets around my leg, and like you've practiced on the tourniquets, tightening them and everything like that, but you don't tighten them as tight as you would do if something happened. So I never felt the full force of them until then, and they tightened my tourniquets. I had to have two on one leg and two on the other.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. Nah, when you ask what's that, are you talking about a tourniquet or a bayonet? Because the bayonet, I'll answer that, is a knife that attaches to the end of your rifle. A tourniquet is basically a piece of string, anything you've got, and you just tie it nice and tight, spin it round so it's nice and tight to cut the blood.
Thank you for the
from gushing, basically. Carry on, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, so they've tightened the tourniquets, and I screamed like a little bitch, right? Because I'd never felt how tight they could go. But when I felt how tight they went, then I screamed like a bitch, mate, and that was the only bit of pain I felt, right?
Wow.
So they're sorting my legs out, and the medics checking me all over to see if they had anything else. But because they fill the IEDs with nuts and bolts and all the other shit, what they fill it with, they fly everywhere. And under my arm, like literally my armpit, there was a massive hole under my arm. So I was lucky I didn't lose my shoulder. But everything had gone under there, big hole under my arm like that. So they were patching that up, and I felt like pins and needles in my arm, and I thought it was just that, having the big hole under my arm. And I've like lifted my arm, I've looked at it, and literally my arm was dangling off with its tendons. I was looking at my arm, just like if I put my arm like that, my arm was just dangling. And I thought, fuck. Like I said, I thought so straight away. I knew I'd lost that straight away. I know there were no mending that. And I was looking at it, and I was like moving my arm and just watching it swing. And what got me was like everyone's watched that film Terminator, where he cuts his skin and takes the skin off to reveal his metal arm.
Yeah.
Picture me cutting to there and then cutting to there and leaving that bit. The skin had separated from the hand. So I had my skin dangling, I had my arm dangling, and I was just like looking at it. And all I could think of, right, were giving it a high five and just watching it wobble because I knew I'd lost it. So it was just like, it was
I'm
like
laughing because me and you have spoke about this many times, haven't we, Dave? And I knew you were going to tell me that high five.
It was like a see you later high five. You know what I mean? Catch you.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything you've done. Do you know what I mean?
Thanks for timing, Mega Love.
Yeah. Thanks for all wanks you give me. You know what I mean? So I just give it an high five and I just watched them just like, do you know like them balls where you let go and you just like one it's that, and I was watching my arm do that to my skin, right? And I was just watching it just dangling that, and it were weird because they were putting me on the stretcher, right? They were putting me on the stretcher, and I'm led on the stretcher. And they've got to like make you comfy, so they've put my arm like that across my body, but my arm's pointing up, but my arm's fucking dangling down. And it were like, oh, you're like, oh fuck. And there were loads of things going through my head. They're going, "Are you all right? Are you all right? Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." I said, "But my fucking mum and dad are not going to be happy about this, are they?" That like my fucking mum and dad are not going to be happy about this. And they were all having a laugh and a joke, and that rate I just started cracking the jokes from there and then. Like, you know what I mean? Like they kept asking me, "I'm alright." I'm there spitting teeth out and fucking saying, "Yeah, I'm alright." I said, "Don't worry about me." I said, "I'm off to a fucking pub." You know what I mean? Like you're carrying on here for another fucking 3.5 months.
Yeah.
But it weren't on like. I just started cracking the jokes, and I asked if I could have a cigarette. Like they give me they let me have a cigarette because I couldn't get one because mine were scattered all over fucking Afghan because I'd just been fucking blown up. And they
Just a quick one there, Dave. I'm only going to ask this, but the questions will need to come after, guys. But I think I remember the answer to this. I'm right in thinking, Dave, you don't actually feel any phantom pains, do you?
No. Since it happened, I've never really had any pain. I just get like the odd muscle twinges every now and again.
Yeah. So back to basically, you've been blown up now. You've realised your legs have gone to the shins, to the knees. You realise your arm's gone. You've waved goodbye to your wanking hand. You've asked for a fag. They've said yeah, and you're thinking, shit, how do I smoke this?
Well, I still have that hand, but I'm
tied up.
Like, don't forget. Don't forget. I'll split my lip, right? I've split my lip. I've got blood coming everywhere. I broke my jaw. So really, when I was dragging my fag, it was like I was sucking it off because that was the noise I was making because I'd split my lip and that. So I was trying my best to get as much nicotine in my body as I could. But everything was done. Right, the guys who picked me up on the stretcher. The merch just turned up. It's landed. I was conscious. My mates are carrying me on stretcher, and the back of the merch is angled at like that kind of position.
Yeah.
So the carry one's up front, one's got me here. Walking up, one of my mates slips and drops me. I turn around to him, "Are you having a fucking laugh? I mean, you don't think I've been injured fucking enough? You just want to drop me as well?" And he's like, "Oh, sorry, Dave, sorry. Don't get me on the fucking plane." They've got me on. Right. They've got me on. And I'm led there. Right. Led there looking up. all the team, because the back of them flights are like a hospital on a plane.
Yeah.
Right? They're just kitted out with everything. They're amazing.
Is this Dave? Them pictures that you sent me?
Yeah, that's on the back of the flight. Yeah.
Right, guys. So I'm just going to show you some pictures from my iPad. This is Dave receiving his treatment in the back of the airplane. As he's explained, trigger warning. They're not overly gruesome, but they can be distressing. So please look away now if you have to. But this is Dave getting the treatment on the back of the aeroplane. Okay. So if you can see that, that's a team of medics working tirelessly on Dave throughout the time. Now, Dave sent me these.
Every time I see them pictures, they like give me goosebumps.
I could get. So, yeah. I mean, let's just take you back here. This one here, you can just see that whoever this is like a guardian angel just watching over you.
That's one of the team. Because I must not have sent it you, but I've got another photo of her. She stood there with her hand, so you can see her and you can see her. Because don't get me wrong, like you don't know these people, but we're all in the military, and we're all brothers and sisters at the end of the day. And when one of us get hurt, we all get hurt.
Yeah.
And they'll do their goddamn hardest to try their best to show you some love and support and do whatever. But when I first got put on the flight and I was led there, the team was straight on me. They give me some morphine because they had to.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't in any pain, they had to give me morphine. And I'm led there, and I'm not telling any lies now. This blonde medic, looked over me, right? She was asking me questions and stuff, seeing if I were all right. And I'm talking to her, and she was absolutely stunning, right? I remember it all. I remember it all, and they give me the morphine and that, and I'm talking to her and everything, and I was about to ask her. This is no lie. I had a lot of things, and I was about to turn around and go, "Will you marry me?" But as I was about to ask it, they put me to sleep.
Wow.
Right. And I always remember what I was about to say and everything like that. And that's what I was about to say. But then, they put me to sleep, and then I woke up getting took off the flight at Camp Bastion. They were taking me straight into theatre.
Who takes the pictures, Dave?
So
them pictures.
That photo, right? The Sun newspaper took them. The Sun newspaper took them because them pictures were on the way from Bastion to Birmingham.
Right.
I was still getting dealt with.
Yeah.
But they were flying back to the UK. The Sun newspaper's been out in Afghan, and they was on the same flight back as me and whoever else were on the flight back, because they're massive and you've got more than one injured person on that flight. I was the worst one. I was the worst injured on that flight. The Sun newspaper were there. The Sun took the pictures, but I'll explain some more in a bit. But the Sun newspaper took them, and Yeah. So I was getting off the flight at Bastion. I woke up just as they were taking me out, and I asked them if I could have a cigarette before I went in. I don't know. That might have just been my mind playing thingy because
Yeah.
I just woke up. I didn't really know where I were, but I said, "Can I have a cigarette?" And they said no, put me back to sleep because I was just about to go into theatre. They've done what they've done in Bastion as fast as they could to get me on the flight to Holyhock in Birmingham. Patched me up, took me up, and an hour on the way. I woke up in intensive care probably 4, maybe 5 days after.
Wow.
I woke up. Well, I didn't wake up. They tried waking me up, and I'm a triple amputee. I knew exactly what was going. I knew exactly what had happened from the start, anyway. But they tried waking me up, and I started fighting. Swinging about everything, and it took 7 nurses to pin me down and calm me down. But because I was that angry and fighting, because what you need to think of is I've just come out of a war zone.
Mm.
I ain't going to be waking up, oh, good morning, are you all right? I'm going to be waking up fighting because I've just come out of a war zone where I've been fighting for 3.5 months. And it took 7 nurses to pin me down. So they put me back to sleep. They went, he's not ready. He needs to go back to sleep. Put me back to sleep, and I think I was asleep for another 2 days or something. And one nurse come on a night shift, and she turned around and said, "I'm going to wake him up. I'm going to wake him up, and I'm going to stay with him until he's calm and ready." And she did. She woke me up, but I didn't know this until a week or so later because, like, she woke me up. I was calm. I was there. I knew exactly what had happened. So I spent a couple more days on intensive care, and then I went up onto the ward, and I spent a couple of days up there, and then I got given an electric wheelchair where I could just have a wander around and everything like that. Me and a couple of the nurses took a visit down to intensive care because I wanted to go and thank the staff what are down there. And this is when she told me, because the nurse what woke me up was on there, and she said, "How does it feel sleeping with a nurse and you don't even know about it?" I said, "What?" She went, "I woke you up and I stayed with you all night until you were calm."
Wow.
I went, so I literally turned around and went, "What? So I slept with a fucking nurse. I didn't even know about it." And I went,
Dave, just let me start. They're all saying how extremely proud of you they are. They're just elated over here, just the sort of guy you are, what you've been through, thanking you for your story. So just thought I'd pass that to you quickly.
Thank you very much, guys. But yeah, like, I was chatting to them. I said thank you, did my bit, and then I went, since I got my wheelchair.
Are we keeping you up, Dave?
Mate, I've been up since 6. But since they give me that wheelchair, I was a nightmare. I was a nightmare in hospital. I was never in my bed. I was never on the ward. I was always outside having a cigarette, or I used to take myself off to the pub. Because literally you come out of the back entrance of the hospital and you've got a pub right next door. the landlord had to phone the hospital.
Would you
one
say,
night.
Dave, that this is obviously you've had your injury now, you've come back, they've patched you up, they've made good of you as good as they can for the time being, they give you a wheelchair, waiting for the next step, shall we say, pardon the pun. Would you say this was then the start of he's a bell end, but he's our bell end. Guess who said that?
Tash.
No.
Tegan.
Yeah, he's a bell end, but he's our bell end. So you've gone through all that and you've hit the pub. Is this then where it all started to
No.
go wrong? No. This
No.
was just like...
This was just me, like, being me. Don't want to go up onto the ward or anything like that. I didn't want to be in hospital. But there were one night where the landlord had to phone the hospital and say, one of your guys is here. He's pissed. And he's bringing back. So the nurses have had to come down and pick me up and take me back to my bed. At this point, I've got drains in me and everything still. But you can hook them to the back of your wheelchair and that. And I've like, what the drains are doing now, they're sucking the shit out your stumps. So all the dirt and stuff. So I had them on 3 limbs. Right? And I'm in the pub having a drink and all this lot. And yeah, that with that. But just a question for everybody. I know my comments are turned off, so if you want to put them in Mickey's Army's side, I've got a question for you all. I got injured on the 27th of May 2010. How long do you think I was in hospital for? So take a couple of minutes. How long do you think I was in hospital for with my injuries before I go on to the next bit?
Can I answer that? Or am I not allowed?
You know though, don't you?
So guys, after everything he's been through, like he just explained, the injuries that he sustained, the losing both legs, the arm, how long do you think you're in hospital for? So we've got a year, 3 months, a month, 6 months, 6 months. You're out by August. 2 years, 12 months, 4 months, 3 weeks, a year, 6 months, 4 years, 6 months, 3.5 months, 11, a month, 12. So we're all saying between a month and 2 years.
I was in hospital for 3 weeks.
3 weeks, guys.
3 weeks. I was discharged. From hospital. I went home. for a couple of weeks. Went to go and see friends and family, everything like that. A couple of weeks, then I was down in Surrey. Started doing all my rehabilitation, learning to walk again, getting fit again. And that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
How long before you took your first steps from injury to first steps, Dave?
7 weeks.
7 weeks. 7 weeks, guys, from standing or someone detonating an improvised explosive device. 7 weeks later, losing both legs and an arm. 7 weeks later, he was walking again, guys. Absolute fucking legend, Dave, honestly. The love from this side's like through the roof, mate.
I just want to turn my comments on, but I'm not doing because I'll just.
You can't because you'll be too busy.
So yeah, 7 weeks until I took my first steps, but that was like Headley Court. I was there for 3.5 years. No, 3 years. And that was like the hardest 3 years. I'd do military training all over again. because being there, it were more intense on getting you up walking, getting you back fit. So you had to do your phys, you had to do everything. But the hardest thing were learning to walk again after losing your legs, because you put a pair of, like, they give you little stubbies first, right, where you can build your muscles up. So I was using them. I didn't like them. Didn't like them because I was short, and when people were talking to me, they had to look down or anything like that, and I didn't like people looking down on me.
No.
And yeah, I had some fun while on like my little stubbies. They did like Headley Court, they did like fancy dress parties and everything like that. I used to dress up as an Oompa Loompa. I used to put my little legs on and just come wobbling in with stuff and that. So we had some laughs, but I wanted to get my full size legs, and I got them. I got my full size legs, but it's literally like putting stilts on.
Yeah, because you've not got control of them, really, have you?
No.
You move your top half of your leg and it flicks out. You have to control
Yeah.
that flick.
Yeah. So you walk like with the sockets, because I was wearing sockets at the time. You're walking from your hip, so you're flicking your hip to flick the leg, and I what would it be for every 5 to 10 steps I did, I used to fall, or my leg would twist round or anything like that. But it was one of them where I had to get on with it. But then later on, I was getting more pissed off with the pain of the sockets and not being able to wear them. So I think it was about 12 months, something like that, after being 12 months into being at Headley Court, where I thought, where I just started turning to the drink. I was going
So
out.
this is where now it's gone from you've been positive, you've said you're going to do it,
Yeah.
but you've now hit the wall.
I was always putting that brave face on. I always put the brave face on. I was always telling people, yeah, everything's all right. There's nothing to worry about. Blah, blah, blah. But I started hitting the drink a lot. I went out more and more. I was stopping in bed all day, not moving, not doing anything. And then I started turning to the drugs. And at the time, like looking back now, I'm ashamed of what I did.
You should never be ashamed, Ed, because of what you give everything, mate.
Oh, so no, but I, like looking back now, I'm ashamed on what I did, but at the time, that were my happy place. It would make me forget. I was laughing. I was joking about it, like on the drugs, on the drink. I was doing everything. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's how it were, and I was like that for about a year and a half, something like that.
What made you go from the alcohol? Because the alcohol's the obvious point in it. Fuck it, I'm going for a pint. What made you then think drugs? Were it just because you were out with people and they were there on offer?
Yeah,
easy to get.
Yeah, it was just that I were out. I'd had a few drinks, and I thought, fucking hell, you know what I mean? I'm like, I've just been fucking blown up. You know what I mean? I'll do what I want to do.
And what was the drugs? What drug of choice did you have, Dave?
Oh, it was only cocaine, like coke and that.
Yeah.
But it was just like, yeah, I'm out having a few drinks. This has happened to me. What the fuck? I'll just do it. But then I was doing it more and more, and I thought, oh fuck you. Even when I was at Headley Court, I was like still doing it there and whatever else. But Headley Court had put out, like, there was a thing what goes on every year called Limb Power. It's like the Limb Power Games. It's for civilian amputees, for them to have a weekend out, have some sport. But they invited some of the soldiers from Headley Court. I put my name down to go and see what I could do and what I can't do. So I went there, tried all the sports, I went to the discus and shot put circle, and the coach there said, "Dave, you've got a talent. You could go far with this." But with what I was doing and what I was going through at the time, I come away thinking, was she just saying that because I'm ex-military, I've just been blown up, and she was trying to make me feel better?
Is it a sympathy vote sort of thing?
Yeah. So I had a lot of things going on in my head. I didn't really listen to her. I carried on doing what I was doing. And it weren't until, I think it was about 2 or 3 months later, something like that, there was a trip over to Oklahoma, over in America. They were doing the same again. The Americans were running this game, all these games and that. So I put my name down to go. I got picked. I went out there, met a lot of nice people, a lot of Americans, a lot of amputees and stuff like that. And we started doing some sport. And I went to the discus and shot put, started throwing, and I threw my discus, and they all looked and went, "That's fucking far." That's what they said. They went, "That's fucking far." They went, "That might have just broke the record for, like, your category." And I was like, "Fuck off, no way." You know what I mean? Nah, no training, no nothing. Just, they went, "You could have just broke the record." Fuck off, no. Got off. They got the tape measure out. They measured it. I broke the record for my category, but I couldn't, like, it couldn't get put down on paper because I wasn't a registered athlete at the time, which I was pissed off about. But when I did that and I got told you just broke that record, that switch went in my head. It went back to that coach at Stoke Mandeville at the Limb Power Games, telling me I've got a gift, I've got a talent, I can go far with this. And then from that day, I packed everything in. I said to myself, right, that's it, not touching it. And I come back home, got myself a coach, started training, started doing, like, competitions on the circuit, like the little competitions around the country and everything like that. And I got up to the point where and I think I still am. I'm not 100% sure because of what's been going on. I was ranked first in Britain.
Wow.
At discus and shot put. And I thought, right, I'm going to keep going on this. And then the Invictus Games come about. The first one was in London. I was talking to my coach, and I said, "I want to go for this." She went, "Nah." She went, "I'm not letting you go for it." She went, it's going to be shit. It's not going to get the publicity it deserves. It's like there's going to be no point. And I went, "Yeah, all right, fair enough." So I didn't go for it. And then we both seen it. We both seen it getting bigger and bigger every year. And then she turned around to me and said, "Right, we'll do it. We'll go for the games." So it got to Toronto. The Toronto games were coming up. We went, like...
Dave, just give us 1 second, Dave. Can you please, Graham's wife, can you please give him our love and thoughts? We'll just be informed that Graham, who we talked to a lot, has had a seizure, so his wife's just come and said they're having to go. Please don't apologise, but
Oh,
please do let us know that he's okay. We are all praying for him.
I
So
wish him
please
all
let
the
us know
best.
that he's okay. And we send our love.
Yeah, send my love as well. So yeah, she said, right, we'll go for it. We'll go for the Toronto games. So I did it. Like, started training. 12 months, dieting, training, sleeping, training, sleeping, and I got selected for the Toronto games in 2017. And I just picked discs and shot put because they're what I've been doing.
Yeah.
They're what I know. So I went out to Toronto in 2017. My sports were the first day was shot put. So I went to the athletics track, threw my shot. I come away with bronze for my shot put, but I didn't. I weren't like. I wanted to go out there and I wanted to come back with something, just to show how much hard work I've put in the time. No matter what it were, I wanted to come back with something. I got bronze. I got onto the podium. I got that bronze medal around my neck, and I started crying. I'm not gonna lie, I was crying because of everything I've been through and where I've been. I've been in the gutter. I've been in the gutter literally, and I've now got a bronze medal around my neck. It was hard work, really hard work. I put myself through a lot of stress and everything like that, but I got there. I done it, and I was like, I was in tears. I was sobbing.
I'm pretty sure that 90% of the British public that were watching it were also in tears with you, Dave.
Like, it was just amazing just to see myself stood in front of a big crowd getting a bronze medal around my neck, and I thought, wow, I've done it.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then my discus was the next day on the Tuesday. I was looking like discus is my strongest sport. And I was looking at the guys I was competing against, and I was second to last to throw. I threw, and I think I threw 20. I think I threw 20, 21 something. Not my best throw, because I'll tell you something, it was absolutely fucking boiling.
I bet it were.
And it, like, just being sat there, the heat just drained you. You have to sit there with a cold towel around your head and everything like that. So the heat just drains you. And when you get up and throw, you get 6 throws. But just think how much energy you're using for every throw. And I ended up throwing 21 meters something. This guy stepped up. Well, not stepped up, he's in a wheelchair, but he rolled up, got in his frame, and I thought, oh shit, here we go. The worst thing about sport is not being last. Like, I've got to be last.
Yeah.
Because I hate throwing, coming away and then watching everyone else throw, and I'm like, shit, here we go. And I was just watching him, and he didn't get. I think he got like. I think his furthest throw was like 17, 18 meters, and I was like, I fucking done it. And the things have come up on big screen, like UK, Dave Watson. Canada second, and then UK were third as well. And I'm like, I fucking done it. I'm first. But when I got on that podium and they put that gold medal around my neck, it didn't bother me as much as that bronze medal did, because I wanted something, and the bronze medal were the first thing I got.
Yeah.
Right, and that meant more to me. Don't get me wrong, guys. It's a gold medal. You know what I mean? I won gold, and I'm amazed, and I was shocked, but it didn't have the effect on me what the bronze medal did. If you
Do you
know
think
what I
that
mean.
was because the bronze one was a final to your first ever release of?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Vinny, I've done everything, and I'm not just a bronze. I'm a medalist.
Yeah.
I've stood on the podium. I've seen the Union Jack lift up. I've listened to the national anthem, God Save the Queen, who you've danced with. All the emotion from that, Dave, is all here. And the years of hell that you've been through, you've received your first medal.
Yeah, that rate. I think that's what it were. But I got the gold medal, and that rate, gold and bronze medalist from the Toronto Games. I come away, I was like so happy and like about where I've been, where I was, and where I am now.
Yeah.
Look what I've got, and I loved it that much that, to be truthful, I had the rest of the 2 weeks to myself because my two sports were done. So the rest of the 2 weeks were like my holiday and going to support the other guys and that. So I did. I supported everyone else. I had a good time. Do you know what I mean? I enjoyed it. And I thought, I'm going to go for it again. And my coach agreed. So I got back from Toronto. I think I had 2 weeks off to spend time with family, and that. I had 2 weeks off, and then I was back in training again for Australia. Never thought I'd get it. We were training with it, and I got the email. You've been selected for the Sydney Games.
Wow.
Like, fucking hell. But with the Sydney Games, it was different because I picked an extra sport to do because of what happened last time. I had like nearly 2 weeks to myself in Toronto, so I picked an extra sport to do. So I picked the indoor rowing, not just because I was going to be bored, but I wanted to see how far I could push myself.
Yeah. Which technically, Dave, going on to the indoor rowing, it's static, so you won't be pushing yourself that far.
No, but it's a fucking nightmare of a fucking sport.
It's horrible. It really is. If anyone's ever done rowing in just the gym alone, it's hard enough and it's tiring. But obviously, to do it in the Olympics,
I just wanted to push myself and just see if I had it in me. So went out there. What were it? It was 2 days in or something like that. And then it was my indoor rowing. I did the 4 minute and the 1 minute endurance. It was a fucking killer. The 4 minutes, I just where you meant to pace it out and just do what you need. Fuck that. I went alpha lever for fucking 4 minutes.
That's what I do at home.
And I nearly fucking blacked out.
Fucking
I had to stay sat down after I'd finished the 4 minute. I had to stay sat down for like 10 minutes because if I'd have stood up, I'd have gone. And where I was rowing, I had the UK, like the Brits in front of me, so I had everyone in front of me. Everyone. And the board was in the corner, and I didn't know where I'd come because, I think for a minute, and I think for a minute and a half, the last minute and a half, I was fucking like blind because I couldn't see anything. I was just pulling, and they just started cheering. I'm like, what the fuck are they cheering? I looked up, and I got second place, so I got a silver. And I thought, fucking hell, I've only been doing the sport fucking like 6 months. But I come away with silver for the 4 minute, and then we went into the training area again. I got a couple of hours off, and it were back into the 1 minute. Went back out, same rower in front of the Brits and that, and yeah, I went hell for fucking leather again for a minute. This time I were all right. I was looking at the board after I'd finished. Come up second again.
Wow.
So I come away with 2 silvers from the indoor rowing. And then I had about 3 days. I had about 3 days to myself. Then I were in the discus. I were in the discus. That were a bit of a fucking nightmare because I was getting ready to throw. I stepped up to go and throw. My frame weren't there because I took my own frame.
Yeah.
What I throw off.
Which is basically what you get strapped to, isn't it? So obviously you can get your leverage. And,
and that frame has been built specifically for me. Yeah. So I took that out with me, and they couldn't find it. Didn't know where it were. I'm like, you fucking joke. That's all I need when I'm in a big competition. So like, it was like the stress of trying to find my frame. And like someone else had to go while they were looking for my frame and this, that, other. They found it. I got up. I was last to throw this time. Last to throw. So I've watched everyone throw. The guy before me, his furthest throw was 23 something. And I thought, not bad. Like, not bad. You know what I mean? So I got up. I knew I'd won before I even threw because I know what I can throw.
Yeah.
I knew I'd won, but I thought I'd play around with it for a bit. Not like I weren't doing it big-headedly or anything like that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just go out there, throw my first throw, and go, there you go. I wanted to play around with it for a bit, so I was throwing. I think my first 4 throws, I only get 6. My first four throws, I was throwing 22s, just over 22, and he threw 23 something. And he's like when I was getting ready to throw my 5th throw, I took like a little glance over to the tent, and he's got this big smile on his face. He's like, "Oh, I've done this," and I thought, right, here we go. So I got myself ready, got myself prepped, and I put everything in motion, and I threw my 5th throw, and that went 25 something.
Fuck yeah.
And then he just like his face just sank. Right. So my last, I've already won because I've just won that with 25 something. So I've just thought I'll throw my last one. I could have just got off the frame and come out, but I thought I'll throw my last one just to. And I threw it, and I got 20. I think I got close to 29 meters. And then I won gold on the discus because that was one of my goals while I were out there to remain the Invictus champion. And I did. I remained the Invictus champion for discus. I went over to them all, shook their hand, And his first words, him who were before me, his first words were, "You knew you could beat me, couldn't you?" I went, like, I didn't really know what to say. I just said, "Not really. I'd just playing it nice." I went, "No, not really. I just threw what I have to. I just did what I have to do." So that writ for the day, discus were done. Gold medal around my neck again, remained Invictus champion over the fucking moon. And then 2 days off, rest for a day, and I trained the next day. And then on the next one, it was my shot put, which I was throwing at night.
And the year before, you'd got bronze for shot put.
Yeah, I got bronze. Yeah, so my goal were to up my bronze to a different colour. I don't know if I sent you a picture of me throwing, did I? That one, my shot put one, yeah.
That's Dave doing his shot put.
So throwing at dark, throwing at night, it were nice because the heat had calmed down. It were cooler. Like you had more time to relax than when it were hot. So my coach is watching as well, up from the UK. She's watching on the whatever channel it ran. And I threw my shot put, and I put everything into it. This was like my third or fourth throw. It just fucking went. And I think it were all, like, when I seen it, where it landed, it were over 7.5 meters. Over 7.5 meters.
And that's a good distance to throw an apple, isn't it?
That's a 4 kilogram shot as well.
It's a big apple.
Dickhead. Size of your head.
My head's bigger than 4 kilos. But 4 kilos, for anyone that doesn't know, that's 4 bags of sugar. 4 bags of sugar.
But I'd thrown it. It were over 7.5 meters. I've looked again, because I don't usually look when they're marking it. Don't usually look. But I don't know what it were, but I looked, and they were marking it in the wrong place. They'd gone into a different hole from one of the other guys. And I went, whoa, stop. They went, what? So I said, they're marking it wrong. I said, that's not mine. Mine's for... No. I said, that's wrong. And they couldn't do nothing about it. They couldn't, because it had took too long to look at the replay and anything like that. And I just turned around and went, right, fuck it. I'll just do it again. And I come over, I did it. I threw. And I threw something like 8 meters something. That was my furthest, 8 meters summit. And then there were another guy after me. So yet again, I was watching. I beat the other lot. It was just him. Right, so I was watching him, and I was literally stood up. Right, I was stood up, and I was literally watching him. He was throwing, like, his furthest throw was, well, at the time he threw 5 balls, 5 shot, and his furthest one was 7 meters something. And I thought, shit. I thought the twat's going to do it on his last one. His last throw, and I'm stood there, and I'm like, hand behind my head. And he threw it, and it went 7, it hit the floor, and I thought, fuck. Because it looked, where I was stood, it looked far.
Yeah.
And they've turned around, they've marked it, and they've marked it. They've put the scores in. Didn't know what he'd threw. And I'm stood there and I'm looking at the fucking board, waiting for the results to come up. And it come up like third, UK, whatever his name were, Mark something. Second, Canada with 7 meters something. And then it come up UK, Dave Watson, 8 meters, whatever it were, for first place. So I got gold for shot put as well.
So
and that just blew my mind.
So you were hoping for silver to up from bronze the year before, and you smashed it and got gold.
Yeah, and I just that rate I were over the fucking moon.
And this guy's is a picture of Dave with some of his some of his medals, because he won't have done the right thing and gone and got them ready for this, so he could show us them. But there you go, guys. That is Dave Watson.
But yeah, I upped him. So yeah, I come away double gold, double silver medalist from the Sydney Games. And I've come back now. I'm still training. I'm trying to get a Commonwealth or a Paralympic game under my belt before I retire.
That would be absolutely amazing.
And I've also set up a business. I'm also a motivational and inspirational speaker. I go to schools, colleges, universities, businesses. I do after dinner speaking. Just talking to people, trying to motivate and inspire to do things what they want to be able to do. Like all these goals people set, and they turn around and go, I'm too busy to do this, I'm too busy to do that. You're not. Even if that one goal takes you 5 years, like putting 10 minutes in a day, you still reach that goal.
Exactly.
And then talking to schools, like trying to make them not go down the same path I did with the drugs and everything like that.
But if you hadn't have done that, Dave, do you ever look back and just think, well, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have ended up where I were, how I was? Because everything leads where it leads, doesn't it? The path.
Oh yeah, everything does. But it's just trying to stop people miss the, like, if you want to do your sport, do your sport. Don't make sure nothing like turns you to the drink and drugs. If it does, just think you can do it. You can carry on with the sport. You can do this. You can do that. Never, don't turn to the drink and drugs. Just keep going. But yeah, I do it to try and motivate and inspire people. And yeah, now I'm just me.
Absolutely amazing, Dave. Right. So we've gone all through that. We've gone to where you are. Everyone now knows that we've had everything. We're 2.5 hours deep and we're still not finished, because we're going to open the floor to answers and questions of all different sorts now. But first, I need a piss.
So do I. I'm going.
So, guys, please bear with us. Have a chat amongst yourself. I need a piss. Dave needs a piss. Please just give us 2 minutes. I'll race you, Dave. I won. Hey. So, guys, bet there's not a dry in the room. So, guys, you've heard his story. He'll be back in a minute, so we'll open up. The injury, 2010, 27th of May, 2010, 50th man. Does Dave ever fall when he walks? Only on ice. See, a lot of these questions I can answer because I've spoke to him before. Thank you for joining tonight, guys. Guys, please stay with us, and when Dave comes back, we can ask him some questions. We'll try and go for no longer than another half an hour. Did anyone actually watch Dave at the Invictus Games? I can honestly say I haven't, but I can honestly say if he competes again, I will be there.
Oh,
so
bastard, you beat me.
I know, and I've got 2 hands to wash. You should have beat me.
Yeah, but
it
takes me longer to get out of my trousers because I've got to go deep.
Right, so Dave, first question that's been in is, and we just want these quick fire, Dave, if we can, so we can get through as many as possible. How and when did you meet your missus?
2000 and back end of 2013.
So 2013, you met your missus after you sustained the injuries. So again, guys, just because something's happened to you doesn't mean life's over. Dave found his wife in 2013, and he's got 2 beautiful daughters. Why isn't Dave verified on TikTok? I have absolutely no idea. Now, I can only suggest that everybody emails TikTok and says, why is he not verified? And I think, Dave, half the reason is you need to change your name to Dave Watson Athlete. What's on your bucket list?
Well, you got. Can you do more than win gold?
Well,
to be truthful, mate, I haven't got a bucket list. I haven't got one.
Just go with flow.
I go with the flow, and I'll do whatever what needs to be done or do. Like I always say to you, did this happen to me to be where I am now?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. I'm still on that journey. The only time I'll be able to tell you whether I reached what I wanted to reach at the end of my journey is when I'm on my deathbed.
Yeah.
That's when I'll be able to turn around and go, yeah, I succeeded.
Absolutely. Because for those of you that don't know, I've asked Dave this question before, and I know the answer to it. I once asked Dave, would he give his gold medals?
Leah, thank you very much.
I asked Dave, would he give his gold medals up to have his legs again? And the answer Dave gave me to that was absolutely not. He feels he has a better life now than he did before, and he wouldn't change anything that's happened to him. Let me have a look now. So, what would you say to somebody who's struggling to motivate them?
It depends what they're struggling with. Because you cannot just go up to someone, because everyone's fighting a different battle. So I'd have to, instead of just meeting someone going, right, you need to do this, this, and this, I'll have to sit down and speak to them, find out what they're struggling with so I can talk to them about it. But like I do it with my girls now. I'll just go, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Absolutely.
But it's depending what they're struggling with and what they need help with to motivate them.
This will be an easy one to answer, Dave. This is just a straight up answer. Which do you prefer, discus or shot put?
Discus.
Now, this question, you might not want to answer this, but I'll ask it because it's been asked. How have your parents adjusted to your injuries?
Sorry, just let me put my phone on charge. My phone's dying.
Oh, don't do that. I thought you'd ended us because of the question I just asked.
Oh shit! There we go. I'm in.
Did you hear that? Sorry, Dave.
Yeah. I don't speak to my parents anymore.
And we'll leave that one there. At what point from your lowest did you decide to turn your life around? Dan, so you missed this. This has been said. So it was when he was invited over to America to try out some things, and he beat the record for discus. Let me find. I'm just trying to catch up with questions now. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to anyone that stuck with you? Hang on. What is the one piece of advice that you were given that stuck with you? Dave's on Aldi Wi-Fi, guys. It's a great face. That's fantastic. He'll be talking away now, won't he? Oh, we've lost him. We will get him back, guys. Do not worry. We will get Dave back. This cannot be the end. As his phone died. Tell me his phone's not died. Here we go. We've got him back. We're going back. Here, we've got him back.
What happened then?
You lost signal, I think, because it just kicked you off. I think, have you on that Wi-Fi, McDonald's Wi-Fi?
Well, what's going on there? Well, all the way through our interview, all the way through it, from start to when you've just been cut off, in the corner it was saying bad connection.
It's crazy, isn't it? So
no,
did you get that?
But all the way through. But now you've just come back on, it's come up with good connection.
Brilliant.
My phone's not moved.
That's amazing. So the question was, Dave, what is one piece of advice that you were given that stuck with you?
There's a couple. Like the other ones, never, like the more natural ones, never give up. Always look forward. But one with me is like, no matter how many times I get knocked down, I'm always going to stand up and carry on.
Absolutely. Did you ever get to see the blonde nurse again that you wanted to propose to?
Yeah.
And what did you say to her?
That was when I had to go back into hospital for an operation on my arm. And we had an MP come to the hospital to come and see some of the military staff and that. And they wanted to see some of the injured guys. So we went up to this room in the hospital where no one else were. And some of the staff from that flight was in that room.
Amazing. Will you do a meet and greet after lockdown?
Definitely.
How much for a signed photograph?
No charge.
So if we got a lot of pictures sent to you, you'd sign them, and we could get them picked up, and we could send them out.
Yeah.
Whoever wanted one. If you want a picture signed by Dave Watson, drop Mickey's Army a message, and I will get that sorted for you. If you could, would you turn back to the answer? We've already gone through that. He wouldn't. He believes that what's happened, and he's got a better way of life. Now, what's next for Dave Watson?
Well, it's nearly 9:45. I think I'll give it another hour and I'll be in. Oh, no, I'm joking. What's next for me? I'll do anything. I will.
So whatever's offered to you, you're gonna do.
Whatever, because don't get me wrong. I've got like the Paralympics or the Commonwealth Games to try and get to, but if things pop up in between then, and I'll go, oh, I'll have a go at that, I'll do it. I'm like, but the main ones are the Commonwealth or the Paralympics.
Absolutely. Has anybody got any more questions for Dave? Leah says, when this is over, Dave got the same phone call as me. When this is over, this is from Leah, when this is all over, can I come and see you and have a coffee?
Yeah, of course you can.
Because Dave doesn't drink, so alcohol wouldn't be of choice of menu. I don't know if my chat's gone or not because it's not loading any more questions up. Is anybody actually asking questions? Because at the minute, nothing's coming through.
They're all getting ghosted.
Hang on. Scott, they've all just come through at fucking once. Oh my God. Do you feel that like the army looked after you after you left?
No,
definitely.
Not.
I want one for everyone saying they want a picture. Why don't you use your false arm?
I do use it for a doorstop. Because of what I've got there, you can see there I've only got that much, really.
It's bigger than you've got elsewhere.
When I wear my socket, it locks my elbow. So it's heavy on my arm. So that's why I don't use the everyday one. But I've got a gym arm, what I use for my weights and everything like that.
Which is just left on your bench, innit? Your weight bench.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any more? Oh, some more questions. They're coming through weird, these questions. Come back, Dave. Dave's here. If you could, would you turn back time and change anything? We've had that. Dave, you are amazing. Would Dave come up Snowdonia with Mickey's Army? Would you try and climb Snowdonia with Mickey's Army?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Do you have a set of running blades?
No. I haven't ran for like probably 10.5 years. I'm not going to do it now.
Was you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
And which arm did you lose?
Right hand.
Do you still wank?
Smack.
He smacks it. Does Dave think that now he could do more to get... Dave, do you feel that you could do more to get the army to do more?
That's an odd question because I've been down this path before. I've tried.
Falls on deaf ears, doesn't it?
It seems like they don't give a shit. Once you leave, you just an old number. You know what I mean? They don't care about you anymore.
It's true. You're a number. That's why they give you a fucking number, so that when all said and done, they just go 2, 5, 1, 2. You're done. Simple as that.
1, 2, 1, do 1.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else for anything else? Did you enjoy meeting my dog Solly?
He's a good dog. He's a good dog. He nearly knocked me over, but yeah, he's a good dog.
I know the answer to this. Do you still wear socks?
Yeah.
He still wears socks. How many pairs of trainers have you got?
About 54, 55, something like
that. Ben, does it hurt when he stands on you? Yeah, to be fair, the first time I met Dave, because guys, I have had the honour of meeting Dave, he stood on my fucking toes, and it hurts.
No, we didn't meet, did we? We bumped into each other.
Well, we bumped into each other. I ended up being in Birmingham at the same time as Dave. Would you shave your beard off if you won gold again?
No.
No, he needs it for his aerodynamics. There
No, I
was a
wouldn't because I had enough. I had enough of shaving in the military. That's why I've grown it.
Are you going fishing with Dan and Dean?
If they want me to go and show them my finger too.
So, Battered Sausage has spoke about trying to get old barracks opened up to the homeless service men. Would you be happy to try and help him in any way you could?
What the old shit he gives me? No, well, I'll like that. That's perfect. Do you know what I mean? You've got all these homeless people on the street, and like probably 90% of them homeless people are ex-military.
Yeah.
So why not put ex-military personnel back in the barracks?
Exactly. Would you be inspirational speaker for injured speakers? He is an inspirational speaker. Did you get to meet the Queen after the Olympics or any time after your injuries?
Yeah. And she recognised me.
Fantastic. Will you ever buy a certain person a donut that you promised her?
I already did. I gave it Ben. He took it home.
You're a liar. You are a liar, Dave. That is not true. That is the first lie you told tonight. We forgot. We forgot to take one.
Yeah, Tegan, we forgot.
And we could have given you the ones that we did buy that were shit. UK welfare, yes, so we answered that one as well, didn't we? Yes, you remembered him, which is absolutely amazing.
Yes,
do you, when COVID is over, travel to do your speaking?
Yeah, I travel all over.
And you also have done some on Zoom, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more questions, or are we going to let Dave go because he is tired?
I'm all right, me. I'm all right. I've got that burst of energy back now.
Because you're a legend, Dave. The mod will not give something up. They will make me. No, you're right. So, Endo Battle, who's been on Mickey's Army, she says, huge thank you. You are such an inspiration.
Thank you very much, guys. If you've all enjoyed it, please drop me a castle to show you've all enjoyed it.
And a speedboat and everything else.
Yeah, a castle, a speedboat, and a diamond. Go on.
That'll
I'm
do.
joking, guys. I'm joking.
How did you feel when she remembered you?
Shocked, because, like, do you know what I mean? A queen, she meets that many people throughout the year, but for her to recognise me, and she recognised me with, because I was actually doing like a show for her.
Right.
We were showing off like the 3 stages of the prosthetics, and I was in the second stage, just showing it off, and she's seen the Scots Guards writing on my back, so it said Scots Guards on my back, and that's when she come over and she was speaking to me, because do you know what I mean? I'm one of her own personal guards, so she comes to say hello.
Absolutely.
And when I was telling her,
that's fantastic. We've got one here. We are so proud of you, our Bell End.
Thanks, Tegan.
Would you consider doing a blog or a podcast? So, have you ever considered doing a blog or a podcast?
I've not thought of doing. Well, I have thought of doing them, but with everything I'm doing at the moment, it's just a bit too much hard work. With everything, you know, like my talks and my like trading and everything like that, it's just a bit too much. I need some time just to chill out as well. But sometime this year. Don't quote me, but I'm gonna bring a book out as well. I'm bringing a book out.
Absolutely, which there will be some signed copies, specially donated to Mickey's Army, that will be auctioned off. There you go, Dave. Just so you know. Not a question, more of a statement. Dave, you inspire me every day. You are the true meaning of a hero.
Thank you very much. That does mean a lot. Thank you.
What were the Queen's words when she recognised you? Did she say hello, Shorty?
I can't remember what she said now. I can't remember what she said, but I was talking to her about us dancing together in Balmain.
Motti, I can answer that for him. He wouldn't change anything that's ever happened to him. He should be proud of everything that he has done and what he is. Dave will know what I mean. Will he get legless with Ricky on live?
I tell you what, he's lethal, him though, Ricky Vet, isn't he?
Unbelievable, isn't he? I know Ricky loves to chat. He really does. Sent the heart kiss and confetti. Wish I could give a cast. Dave doesn't need the gifts. He's only joking, but every gift that he's gifted is much appreciated by him. But Dave expects nothing from anybody. Should be so proud. No, that was Endor Battle. Oh, should be so proud of everything he has done so far and where he's come from and where he is today. You are a true hero. Probably said God weren't. Oh, she probably said, God, weren't you taller when I danced with you? Have you considered any other disciplines in any other sports since the other three you've tasked?
No, well, I do the odd bit of javelin, but with my upper body strength, like the throwing's just perfect for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I did try powerlifting. I did try that, but I couldn't. No, I couldn't do it. I did it, but I couldn't. There weren't a category for single arm bench press.
Right.
So I couldn't really. I can carry it on, but I couldn't get anywhere with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What about is there anything like the hammer throw you could do?
Hammer throw, no. With being a seated thrower, with the hammer throw, you've got to do that turning, haven't you?
Yeah. Do you still have any army traits at home?
Not really. I'm trying to I'd rather not bring military life into a family life. I know people who
they can't change, can they?
No, I know people when I were in the military and he was in the military. He used to, his kids used to have room and locker inspections every week.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? Would Dave consider one of Dave's ambitions is to represent Great Britain at the Paralympics? Thank you for an amazing live stream, guys. I'll bid you good night. Much love. Thank you for joining us. It's been amazing. Is Willy Wonka looking for you?
No, not now. I told him I'm retiring.
He's retired, Tegan. She's mean to you, isn't she, that Tegan?
Well, she can say what she wants. I'll just fucking ignore her.
Dave, I think we can all agree that this has been so good. And on behalf of Mickey's Army, I am a friend to you for life. We are brothers.
You are.
But this has been amazing. And I spoke to you, and I've known a lot of the answers because we've spoke before. How
Yeah,
tall are you, Dave? How tall are you now?
Now? Well, I've got my legs on now. I'm 5'10", 5'11".
5'10", 5'11".
But about 11:15, something like that, I'll be 3 foot. So I'll take my legs off.
Absolutely. Dave, can you turn your comments on?
My comments are turned on.
Can everybody, all 28 people from my live, jump over to Dave's live, and can you give the emoji of the bionic leg?
Tash, how are you?
Show him some love by showing him the bionic leg. There is an emoji, bionic leg. Get over and show him some love, guys, because he's opened his heart, he's opened his story, and for what he's given us today, guys, it has been absolutely amazing. So please, can everybody from my live, I want my live to say 0. Everybody over to Dave's. He's never had 28 people in his live, so let's make his day. Let's make him smile. Get over to Dave's. Show him some love, guys. Give him your thank yous. If anybody wants to gift him, gift him. If you don't have any money, just tell him you love him. Give him your thank yous. And Dave, it's been an absolute honour for me to be here with you tonight. We are brothers for life. We always will be here. And you know my inbox is always open. Anytime you ever need any help.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for coming in and listening to me babble on. It's been a big honour to talk to you all.
Like I said, Dave, we've spoke many times, and it's dribs and drabs, different times. But to listen to your full story, I can honestly stand here, Dave, and tell you now that was one of the best chats I've had with anybody in my whole life.
Thanking you very much. Thanking you. Yeah, guys, thank you very much. It means a lot. If you enjoyed it, please drop a castle. I'm trying to get one of these castles. No, I'm only joking, guys. I'm only joking, Don.
This will not be the last time we talk on here because, as you've said, you're hoping to compete elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And when you do compete, not only will you have Great Britain behind you, but you will have Mickey's Army and everybody associated with Mickey's Army. The whole of TikTok will be with you. And
just wait. Butters just sent me like the castle emojis. Thank you very much, guys.
And we will all be behind you, Dave, at your next Olympics if you get to any more. But definitely on behalf of Mickey's Army, mate, and myself and everybody, thank you for sharing that with us because it's been absolutely amazing. And we all wish you luck in whatever you do next. And just keep being you, Dave, and keep fucking...
I will always be me, my friend.
Keep reaching for them stars or gold medals.
I will always be me. Always.
Not if, when. Absolutely. Good effort, Ben.
Be me.
Going to do this with Alex.
Oh, Tegan, thank you.
Dan, what, you're going to go and do it with Alex? Or you want us to see if we can do it with Alex? Well done, Ben. Great live. This live has been great, and it's all down to this man right here. This man right here has given... We've literally gone on for 3 hours. We penned in an hour and a half, but there were no way on this God's planet where I'm going to stop you halfway through and say, right, you've done that, let's move on.
Yeah, definitely, guys, thank you very much. Thank you.
Dan. Dave, I'm going to love you, and I'm going to leave you. And thank you very much, Dave.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Thank you very much, guys.
Take it easy, mate.
Love you all.
Shaka. Yes, Dave. Thank you, mate. Speak to you again another day, probably tomorrow.
Yeah. Might be tomorrow.
See you later, Dave.
Guys.
Thank you, mate. Bye, pal.
Bye-bye.
If you've got a story you want to share, a life story from tragedy to success, and success isn't just winning gold medals. Success is learning to get by day. If you want to come on and share that story with us, then let's do it. But now it's time for me to go to bed. So I'm going to love you and leave you all. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. It's been an absolute honour and a pleasure for me to be able to bring this to you all and being the person to sit side by side with Dave. Unfortunate the fact that we couldn't sit side by side here or at his house, but we definitely will do one day. And like I say, that's not the last time we'll speak to Dave. We'll have Dave on again on his next chapter. Tune into Mickey's Army next Sunday for a Q&A session with the wonderful Ben, which is me, and Lynn. So next week, on Sunday, Lynn will be questioning... Oh, I've got heart pains. Don't do that, Ben. Lynn will be questioning me about my life, not my military life, not like, oh, what did you do in army, oh, a blanket stacker, just for me growing up and where I am today and what I've done with my struggles with dyslexia, pissing the bed, my worries of home life, coming from a broken family, being brought up by a stepdad and stuff like that, and having sisters and brothers, you know. So we should be questioning you. It'll be questions with me. It will be questions with me. But yeah. Hi Ben, how are you doing? I'm all well, Music Man. How are you, mate? I was going to let you blanket. So get shattered. Your tongue's swollen again. It's not thing. I just think that's how I speak now. I think it's knackered. I think it's my new tooth. So guys, thank you for joining us tonight. It has been absolutely amazing. I'm going to go for a fab because I like a fab. But please keep showing your support to Mickey's Army. Okay? Please show your support to Mickey's Army as much and as often as you can. Make a conscious effort to come to our page, like, comment and share our new posts. But tell us if you want to come and share your story. But guys, tonight's been a pleasure. And from me to you, I love you all. Thank you. And it's a shaka from Papa, as some of you know me as Papa Blaze. And we'll see you next Sunday. But keep an eye out for during the week. I might be live again. Just being me. Okay? Speak to you all soon. Take care. Take it easy. If you can't be good, be kind. Peace out. You legends. Oh, got a stiff bum.